Just chill.
Oh, okay. I thought I had to push buttons.
You're all good. Hello, hi everyone. If you can see us, if you can hear us, that would be lovely. If you could let us know, we would super duper appreciate it. Also, I always forget to change my cute little title before every single one of these. Oh my god, it always makes me feel so silly because that's like half the fun of this system. But hopefully everyone's doing all right out there. We are actually this is a bit of a weird stream in some ways because we are streaming to several more locales than we normally do. As there's just been a little bit of some craziness going on scheduling wise. Unfortunately, Andy will not be joining us this evening. He's just having to take care of some stuff because life happens. He's fine. He's all right. He's doing good health wise. It's just life sometimes happens and then you have to deal with it and it's a whole thing. So he will be back soon for Lorebeards shenanigans, but we were really excited to get into this topic and we didn't want to push it back. So instead of it just being me and Andy and Alexis, Ross was kind enough to step in and join us. So we have...
How dare you?
We have 3 people, but one of them has altered ever so slightly.
Well, Lindsay says I am basically an American twin of Andy, so...
I believe it. I genuinely believe that. 100%. But so while we're giving folks just a little bit to realize that we're live and things are kicking off and stuff, we'll just do a quick thing of if we could start with Ross. How has your week been? How are things going?
Oh, not too bad. Since the holiday season is upon us really soon, so I busted out one of my ugly sweaters. Buying the Halloween candy.
Let's go.
Yeah, Halloween candy is in the house.
Yeah, the holidays have officially started. We're in it for the long haul now for the next 3 months.
I have a D6 sucker waiting for me after.
There you go. Very nice. Alexis, how are things going on your end? How's life?
I just played an 8,000 point game today of 10th edition, where on turn 4 I destroyed a Warlord Titan.
That's awesome.
A Warhound Titan.
Whoa!
I am having a blast. I just posted it on my TikTok. There's this short video, and it was so much fun. Me and my opponent were having a great time. And because he was playing Imperial Knights and Titans, we actually got an 8,000 point game done in 4 hours.
You see, there's the real achievement right there.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And I brought Space Marines. I brought an actual
miracle.
an actual thematic Dark Angels list, tons of bikes, tons of Terminators, first company and second company just there, and then some Eradicators, and there was an Intercessor unit. There was a single troop choice.
Nice.
Oh, goodness. Excellent. Man, I need to get back into playing tabletop on a regular basis. I've been finally
just
getting
do what
caught
I
up
do.
on.
Be jobless.
I mean, I vaguely have that as a I don't know. It's I'm self-employed, so I'm as close as you can be to that without full.
I mean, I'm technically freelance. I'm a freelance painter / Viking, so
But yeah, this is gonna be. I'm very excited for this, and it's lovely to have you both here with me. This is gonna be a really good time.
Ryan, I should point out that in a previous stream I did with you, you said that all too often you are listening to another show and thinking, "Oh, they introduced themselves," because the listeners don't always know who they're speaking.
I always forget to do that. Yeah.
So I thought I'd bring that up early.
Yeah, we will absolutely knock that out here in literally just a second. Because you're correct. I forgot that, because I always forget it, because in my brain I just assume that people do nothing but sit there and wait for Lorebeards to come live and then just wait for the next
somebody
one.
In the comments said that Lorebeard says it's offline on Twitch.
So yeah, we're not using that just yet. Eventually, soon, we will use the Lorebeards Twitch. But for the moment, it is not it's not currently being used. It will soon. We're just not there yet. So that is as intended. So intros, this would actually be, I think, a perfect time to go ahead and jump into this. Of that, for anyone that may be joining us for the first time or just has memory problems, which is also very relatable.
Yes.
Yeah, I am Loremaster of Sotek. I run the Loremaster of Sotek YouTube channel and Twitch channel and a bunch of other things. And I am
you are?
one. Yes, indeed. Yep.
Are
The
you
one
sure?
and only. Yes. At least I think I am. I think I am, therefore I am, but we'll see how long that holds up before the real one eventually tracks me down in court. But I am one of the founders and co-hosts of Lorebeards, which is super great fun time, and I'm joined by two guests that are relatively new to the show, which is extra exciting. So why don't we start with Ross, just to make things consistent and easy. Ross, if you give people a quick introduction to who you are, what your experience is with Warhammer, and yada yada.
Okay, well, this might be a little bit longer than the last time, because last time was focused a lot on the Warhammer side of things. But tonight we're talking about 40K as well as fantasy. So my name's Ross Watson, and I am a game designer and author, and I've worked on a whole bunch of Warhammer 40K stuff.
They're right there. That's all the stuff he's worked on.
If you know of Dark Heresy, Rogue Trader, Death Watch, Only War,
shelf and that shelf
and Wrath of Glory. I was a lead designer, lead developer on all those game lines. I've made I did all the writing for Battlefleet Gothic Armada, the video game, and
I have to pick your brain about something then.
Yeah, for sure.
You two save it.
I'm gonna pick his brain.
And another there's some other 40K video games I worked on. And just a ton of, I actually spent a lot of time at Games Workshop on the US White Dwarf team between 2003 and 2005 as well. So a lot of experience here.
Excellent. And Alexis, if you could kind of let people know who you are and your history with all the stuff and all that jazz.
All right, so I'm Norn Queen Alexis. I am a YouTuber on occasion whenever I feel like posting something. I would say that I'm still like a content producer. I post on TikTok and YouTube every now and then. I play way too much Warhammer, and I have multiple armies that are over 10,000 points.
That is
like
bad.
I don't even know where I would put that many tabletop minis.
I actually have a video on my basement and how I store that many miniatures, and there's now a whole new rack of miniatures since that video has come out. I currently have 19 armies for Warhammer 40K, 4 armies for AOS, and 2 armies for Old World. That
do be a lot of armies.
I do love my stuff. And I have a ton of armies that are interchangeable, like my Dark Angels for 40K, my Dark Angels for 30K, my Space Wolves for 40K, Demons split between, all of that. But I've played this game since 4th edition. I've loved it ever since I first got into it. And the thing that really drew me to this game was Sisters of Battle. And I was just like, hell yeah, that nun has a chainsword and a gun. That's awesome. And I was just like, yep, that's my game. It is
a pretty iconic, like, eye catcher.
I love their look. I absolutely love their look. And I know a lot of people don't like the whole boob armor, but I am here for it.
Listen, at some point, style, like the rule of cool just overwhelms everything. Like, well, yeah, it is the most powerful force
exactly
in the Warhammer universe.
Well, the ecclesiarchy in general is far more about style over substance.
Yeah. They are just amazing.
All right, so we'll grab a couple of little super chats here that came in at the start, and then we're just going to kind of throw ourselves into it. Tonight's stream is going to be a little more relaxed, even compared to normal Lorebeard Wednesdays, especially because there were a couple of little last minute changes to like where the stream is going to go out to and everything. So we're going to be doing like fun little polls and stuff across the stream, which I'll be handling those. Due to the fact that I am the one that will be handling them, because YouTube has a very finagly system about who's allowed to use polls versus Twitch, which is so much easier to use. And also our big bad moderator is out celebrating his birthday and having fun out in the world. So I am, yeah, I know. How dare he have a life outside of what I need him to do? I am soloing this ship today, which is a little busy, but all of the polls that I'll be running for today will be running on the Loremaster of Sotek YouTube and Twitch channel. For the sake of sanity, that will be the only places I'll be running polls, because if I try and do it anywhere else, my brain will explode. So
usually you like work polls, you don't really run polls.
Listen, sometimes you got to vault things. You know, you got to get over those humps in life, and a poll helps to have with those moments. It does. Necromancer Kobold. So how soon do we convert a Stegodon with an Engine of the Gods into an alternate Exterminatus by glassing the planet surface?
You would need a big Stegodon.
Yeah, that would require a fairly large version of both of those things.
I should say that Total Warhammer 3, though, one of my favorite things to do is just get a line of guys blasted with the Engine of the Gods and watch them all go away.
I will never forget when Total War released the Prophet and the Warlock trailer, and they showed their interpretation of the Engine of the Gods. Because for those unaware, the original version was the tabletop version's more like it's this big old one tech device on the back of a dinosaur, and it lets out like a blast and it's around it, and it like incinerates enemies around it, which is cool. But Total War was like, what if instead we made it where they send up like a relay, and then it comes down as an orbital laser that just like obliterates through lines of groups, which is like, that opens so many questions. It's cool. I love it. And I'm not gonna ask those questions of CA, but it's like,
no, you can ask those questions.
Yeah, today is gonna be a day to ask those kinds of questions, because it really feels like Total War is almost insinuating there's just like satellites waiting for some like signal to arrive before they shoot death lasers. Which, you know, old ones, it's plausible to say the least.
Oh, it's far scarier than that. It's so much scarier than that.
Today we are going to get into some absolutely wild ideas, especially when it comes to old one tech and a lot of the things that the Lizardmen might be finding. Biofoot 78, will the Lizardmen tap the Fishmen in? No, we're going to space. I don't think the Fishmen are unfortunately going to get as much mileage where we're off to. And we're going to an ocean of a different kind, but sadly they're not going to be swimming on this one. Poor Fishmen, always left on the bench. Necromancer Kobold, also love the Darksiders death mask on the shelf.
Thank you very much. I actually worked on Darksiders 2. I worked on some of the scripts. I wrote all the DLCs, and all the item descriptions in the game are written by me. So if you liked Darksiders 2, I had a big part to play in it. Thank you very much.
I have some friends who absolutely love that series. I enjoyed, I've never played it myself, but I have deeply and thoroughly enjoyed watching other people play it.
Yeah, well, I got to write a lot of the cutscenes, so yeah,
it's a fun series. It's super fun. Biofoot, happy freaking birthday to Hawk, 87 years young. He is not 87, thankfully. Otherwise, I would have to more immediately be worrying about his like sudden vanishing from life, which would make me stressed. I'm not going to say how old he is, because that's his business and not y'all's. But I will say that is
27. That's it. That's the age. It doesn't matter what it is after that. It's 27.
27 is a very nice neutral age. It's like, it's not too old, it's not too young. But yeah, so for anyone that hasn't read the thumbnail or wasn't keeping up with socials and stuff, we do have a very fun little topic for today, which is that we were tossing around a bunch of different ideas. Me and Alexis were actually talking about this, and she threw out the idea of, what if the Lizardmen were to pull an end times a lot earlier than the end times and decided to just peace out to space, but instead of just wandering over to Age of Sigmar, they decided to head to a different setting and cause all sorts of chaos with a little c. And what would be the ramifications of such a move?
I have a slight theory on this, okay? This is completely inaccurate, But hear me out.
We love those here.
Warhammer 40K is what happens if the end times didn't happen in Warhammer Fantasy. The Lizardmen simply win.
So
and then they restart everything in their own stuff. So they're just like, yeah, no, this is ours now. No, I'm mostly joking about that, but I think it would be kind of funny.
I mean, I will always accept lizard propaganda. I will say that. Like, that is something that is a very personal vested interest to me.
As somebody who runs a Lizardmen-based Space Wolf army who makes their opponent get the stupid lizard meme stuck in their head, I love it.
The few times I've been tempted to like really get into 40K is always when I see like really good conversions of like either the classic where you just have like Space Marine minis, but they chop off the heads and they put like the Saurus heads on them.
Yep.
Or there's a guy I know that does art that he has like a Mechanicus themed Lizardman design, and it's very cool. It's aggressively cool. I don't know how it would work in minis. He just does it in his art, but it's like it looks very cool.
Send me the art, and I could probably convert something up for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we can absolutely do that. So, and just like regular Lorebeards, the way this stream will functionally kind of work is that we're just going to kind of talk and have fun, and we'll like grab comments out as we see them. If y'all ever see a comment, I think I, for right now, have to be the one that grabs them out. So
I have never seen a comment in my entire life.
Well, okay, then luckily, that's
following the first rule of the internet, you know.
Yeah, that is the best way to handle content creation. I also never look at videos after I publish them. But
oh my god, have you ever heard your voice in a video and you're just like,
it's terrible. It's terrible. I have to instant mute myself every time.
Yeah.
But the way this will basically work is that we will talk through like various theories and ideas and be grabbing out your various comments and stuff, and then we're gonna try and whenever we kind of hit what we'll call like a branching point per se in the little narrative that we're having fun and building with, we will put it up on a poll, and I'll let y'all know every time where it is over on the Loremaster of Sotek stuff, just to remind folks, and we will let those polls go live. They'll run for a few minutes, and then once they're up, whatever the audience has decided is the best option, we will take that as gospel and follow that fork till we hit another one.
Alrighty.
Well, Andy's not here, and no one can replace Andy, but I think in honor of Andy, I would like to start talking a little bit about the history of Lizardmen in 40K, because they have been in 40K.
I would love that. So, Ross, but last thing I'll say, just for real quick chat, if anybody's like too quiet, too loud, any stuff like that, do let me know. I will adjust levels. But no one said anything yet, so I'm assuming we're okay. But just in case anyone's too soft would be my genuine worry, then just let me know.
Sure thing.
So I think Lizardmen were still playable on the tabletop all the way until 4th edition.
Okay, so they were in the rule books until 4th, certainly.
Yeah.
Let's go all the way back to 1987, the original Rogue Trader book.
I have that in my room.
They talk about a race called the Old Slann. And the Old Slann were the ones who showed the Eldar what the webway was and a few other things. But that was the one and only time that they're referenced as the Old Slann. Okay. Then you get into the next edition of the game, and they start talking instead about the old ones.
Yeah.
That was the instant.
We got to make it even more vague.
After they start calling them the old ones. But how do we know that the old ones are also Lizardmen? Right, that's the first question that would come to my mind. Is like, well, if they were called Slann, well, Slann are still mentioned in the game. They're discussed in the game, and in fact, we even have a picture of one by John Blanche. It's really cool. Yep. In the 4th edition rulebook called an Old Slanny or a Slanny, Slannie, with I at the end instead of an E. And that was the last mention that they had as like a thing as far as Lizardmen go. From that point, like after 5th edition, you won't even hear about Slann. Okay, but what's really interesting to me, and probably of special import to both Alexis and Sotek, in the 3rd edition Necron's Codex. Alexis already knows what I'm going to talk about here. In the 3rd edition Necron's Codex, the very first Necron's Codex, I believe.
Yeah, it's their actual first codex that isn't just some White Dwarf pages.
And I was playing at the time. I was actually like part of the community and actually playing games. So I remember the White Dwarf issues, and then I remember this codex coming out. But in that codex, they said they had this little section on how the old ones and the Necrons were natural enemies. And they talked about if you wanted to simulate a battle between the Necrons and the old ones, you could represent their degenerate descendants of the old ones by using Warhammer Fantasy Battle Lizardmen.
Rude.
Yeah.
Hey.
And Professor Sept, yep, good call out.
Good call out, Professor. That's exactly right. So they have explicitly said that the old ones are essentially the Slann and the Lizardmen in the past. Now, again, like I said, the lore changes over time, and since 5th edition, this is no longer true. But to have an image by John Blanche is a big deal. Like, that is not just, he doesn't just go around drawing pictures of things for no reason, you know. And there's a lot of rumors and whatnot that the Lizardmen were meant to be a bigger part, and the Slann meant to be a bigger part of 40K than they ever got to. But this is a very messy setting. It's a very messy set of lore that has gone through a lot of different changes over time. So let's just establish the baseline and say at one time, only slightly more than 20 years ago, the Lizardmen were absolutely part of 40K.
Yep. This was just when Space Marines started becoming super soldiers, by the way. They, like 2nd edition and before, they were still like, they're highly elite human warriors, but they're not the Space Marines that we knew today. And then
freakish
3rd edition
people.
Yeah, 3rd edition retconned a lot of stuff and then made them into like Space Marines.
Well, I don't want to like take this off topic into a really long discussion about what Space Marines are, because
what I'm saying is like the settings has changed each edition.
Sure.
Like the Necrons are no longer mindless killing automata that follow gods. Correct. They're now just like sassy old men, which is my favorite incarnation of Necrons.
Agreed. And Space Marines are not actually really humans or people anymore. So there's a lot to go over with that.
Yeah, they're so far beyond that.
But even in current 40K, though, you can find a lot of interesting reptilian aliens that seem to have some kind of connection or resemblance, I might say, to the Slann. There's the Slith, who work for the Dark Eldar, or the Drukhari, excuse me.
The Drukharis.
Drukhari. Yes, however you want to say
it. Drukharis, yeah.
There is the Loxodals. There's the Zotes, the Draken, the Tyrellians, the Lair, which are very serpent-like.
I was actually going to say the Tyrellian, the dog fighters, which are basically just Lizardmen.
There's so little known about the Tyrellians. It's like, I mean, are they lizards? Like, we're not even really sure. They're called dog soldiers, so maybe, possibly.
Yeah, but their artwork is definitely just a Slann from not a Slann.
A Saurus. It looks like a
Saurus from the side. That's like, oh.
It does look like a Saurus. I agree. So yeah, there's plenty of reptilian and serpentine aliens that are running around in 40K. That and some of these, like the Lair, are incredibly influential. Without the Lair, a lot of things would change in 40K.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's just say that the setting has its ranks swelled with different types of Lizardmen down through the ages, and that's the history. So I'm going to let you guys get into the discussion now.
So. Oh, yeah. What do you? Go ahead.
Can I start this?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. So the first place that we have to start is the establishment of what the War in Heaven is. And the lore on the War in Heaven is, it is annoying because there's 4 different versions of the War in Heaven. And there's maybe 2 different wars that are called the War in Heaven, but they also might be the same war just continuing. And this battle may have taken millions of years. Also, it ended abruptly and created the Chaos Gods. All is true, and the one thing that we have to establish really quick is that in 40K, the second the Chaos Gods were created in real space, well, not in real space, but in the warp, they always existed. So it means that when they were created, they existed prior to their creation.
Right.
And I know that is weird to say, but because they have a connection to fantasy where they exist, they have always existed, but they have a definite birth. So prior to that, the realm of souls was still the realm of souls and was calm, and you could create gods in it. That is something that the Lizardmen the Slann could do, because the Eldar that they created would eventually use the realm of souls to create their gods, which are non-chaos gods that were created within the realm of souls that can go into people's bodies and turn them into the gods themselves.
Technically, one of the chaos gods is an Eldar god.
Yes, that is true. I think it's 2 now if you count Yenneed, but that's a very...
I wouldn't say Eniad is a chaos god. No.
Not yet.
No.
Give them a few years. But it's GW, so they're going to forget all about it, like they already did.
So I think that could actually kind of... So one of the things I think we could do is like a really early vote, and then we can kind of like yap among ourselves while chat's voting on it. I
just wanted to get that set so that the chat knows, like, the Chaos Gods are, in this case, weaker than the Slann and the Necron Gods at the time.
That was certainly true at that time. I don't know if it's true now.
Strictly in the War in Heaven. So when we're talking about the War in Heaven, the Chaos Gods are not really powerful.
Well, I should point out here that the old ones, as they're described in the War in Heaven, have a lot more in common with like Lovecraftian cosmic beings than say Slann, and that's the vibe that they're definitely giving there.
I feel like Tyranids have always fit that mythos a bit better, where the Slann were just like, because reading their fluff and everything, what little there is of it, they were non-caring about other species that they themselves weren't creating. Because there were other species in the galaxy prior to the Slann and the creatures that they created. Because the Necrons existed, the Necron tier. And then we have like them coming in, creating all of this life across the entire galaxy. But I do get the mythos with like, they're just these unknowing, like you could never fully understand them type god.
That's the kind of thing.
Yeah. But it's not like, Cthulhu or any of the other crazy Lovecraftian gods that are just destruction monsters.
So
there's a lot to establish before we get to this topic.
There is. So one of the things I think will be good for the chat to have a vote on that we can kind of talk about here a little bit is when we're talking about the Lizardmen coming to the 40K verse. One of the things that could definitely be argued is going to change a lot of what we're going to be dealing with is which era of the Lizardmen is picking up and through the little narrative that we'll establish arriving in the 41st millennium.
This is a really good point because the Lizardmen have had their rises and their falls. So let's see at what point.
Yeah. So I think we can.
And at what point are they landing in 40K? Because if they land exactly when Slaanesh is born, it doesn't matter how powerful they are. They're getting wiped out by Slaanesh. Let's start with our Lizardmen. And what age of the Warhammer Fantasy world they're going to pick up and likely pop through the ether and do some weird shit of like transportation. So eras that I think would make for interesting discussion is we have our pre-cataclysm. So we have our Lizardmen before the coming of chaos. So Lord Croak is alive. You have the first generation Slann who are ridiculously powerful. Obviously, if we're dealing with this era of the Lizardmen, it's going to be weirder. We're going to be dealing with Lizardmen that are a little more mysterious, a little more difficult to pin down, but they have stronger Old One connections. They're a little more high tech than our other options. Did he freeze for you too? Oh no, there he is.
Nope, okay. No, everything's good. We have our I'll call it era of Karl Franz, but like modern Lizardmen. So everybody's favorite special characters are alive. They have all the things you recognize from the tabletop. They have all the like notable stories, but they are kind of the pre-established group that we all know and love. And a third group, I think, would be, if we wanted to go with a particularly risque option, would be our post-end times Lizardmen. So the shit has hit the fan. The Lizardmen have suffered various losses and casualties. They're starting to go through their AOSification, so to speak, which means they're going to be subtly different, but there's also going to be things that they have lost, things that they have gained. It's also going to be weird in its own way. I think that that gives some options. I don't know if either of you have another era of the Lizardmen you think would be interesting to toss in there as a potential fourth option, or if you think those three would be good.
I'm going to trust you on this because I barely know about the Lizardmen, but I do know about like the frog monsters. And I love them.
Calling the Slann monsters. Oh, they're sad now.
Hey. I painted mine as Gamakichi, and there is going to be one person in the comments that gets that.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a Pokemon. I'm not sure.
No, it's not a Pokemon.
It's not a Pokemon.
I know it's not that. That's the only...
Come on, chat. Have my back. Yes!
Oh, it's Naruto. Okay, I get it.
Oh,
thank you, chat.
Any other things you think should be added, Ross? Do you think those three are good?
Well, I mean, if they're coming over directly rather than having pre-existed in another fashion.
So I would say for the sake of this stream, we're gonna have it where they are a force that is coming specifically from the fantasy world into the 40K verse through warp shenanigans is probably what we'll lean on.
So
Why don't you just do it the way the Votan did it? Oh, they're just there now.
Yeah,
well, that's why I was asking to double check what Sotek had in mind. But I would think that the probably the fairest way would be to do it from the Karl Franz era, the Total War era Lizardmen, coming over into the Indomitus era 40K, which is they're both current, quote unquote. Current.
Yeah, we do the current era because you can't come in during the Great Crusade because that's 30K, that's not 40K. Topic is 40K, and I would say
I would agree.
And we're in current 40K. Primaris have been out for like 7 years now, so I think everyone that isn't like a basement dwelling person is okay with Primaris Marines.
It's 8 years at this point. So
8 years, holy cow!
I know, right?
So those polls are live now, just to get everybody kind of used to where to go on the Loremaster Sotek Twitch and YouTube channel. You can go to either one and vote. You can go to both if you really want. So go there and vote if you're so inclined. And that one's just going to run for 2 minutes, so it'll be over really, really quick. But while that's going, why don't we get caught up on some super chat stuff? And then once y'all have decided on that, we'll be really able to kind of get into it and figure out like where they're going to show up. Because where is going to be pretty important.
I mean, it has to be Sector Obscurus.
Cole Patterson, I really want to stream for Archaon getting sent to the 40K galaxy after the end times to show that dork Abaddon how it's done. Please, pretty please. Poor Abaddon. Just getting.
Now all I'm imagining is a chaos version of how it's done from K-pop Demon Hunters.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna show you how it's done.
I would watch the hell out of that.
Archaon. I have a feeling that Be'lakor is going to be involved.
Oh yeah, well yeah, he has to be. Be'lakor, it's Be'lakor. He's got to be involved.
I still can't believe Be'lakor won something in 40K, which is completely out of character for him. They introduced Bastor, the 5th Chaos God, and Be'lakor beats him, and Be'lakor's just like, I don't know what to do, Azrael. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, this has never happened before. I've never gotten this far.
He invaded the rock. He's like right there. The Dark Angels are screwed, and Be'lakor is just like, I don't know what to do anymore. I won, so I'm just gonna leave. I feel good. See ya.
Good old Be'lakor. Maybe he'll make an appearance in this stream. Who can say? Okay. Next we got Listener Chris, the hypothetical Kane novel where he has to deal with the Lizardmen should be fun.
Yes. Commissar Kane, hero of the Imperium.
Yes, Commissar Kane and the Temple of Serpents, my favorite novel.
Hell yeah. I would actually, that would be rad to make it like pulpy, like really pulpy. That would be sweet as hell.
Why do I have the feeling that he would solve it by talking to the Slann and confusing them? Like he would unintentionally confuse the Slann and they would just stop attacking him.
Yeah, from everything I've heard about good old Kane, It really sounds like if you were ever going to put him in a novel with anyone, that him appearing in a Skaven novel would be like the ultimate. It would just be like a purely wonderful out of pocket story.
It would be. It absolutely would be.
Because damn, the Skaven have some funny books. Morton Crescent. I vote this starts by punching Morslib so hard it forms a vortex, allowing travel for the Lizardmen into the wider galaxy. Nakai immediately gets lost. Okay, well, Nakai is always going to get lost because he is the Wanderer, and he just kind of vanishes and shows up places. Don't worry, we'll talk about him later.
Wait, is he the Kato Sakaris of fantasy?
No.
Nakai is so he's basically a giant Kroxigor that what they ended up running with is that he kind of has a sort of, he's a first generation Kroxigor, so he's like 10,000 plus years old, very, very ancient Kroxigor that is incredibly powerful, and he just sort of senses when he needs to be somewhere. Like he has like an organ in his head that's like, oh, there's this important battle you need to show up at, and he just kind of,
he's Kato Sakaris.
He just kind of walks up, gets in a kaiju battle, and then survives, and then he wanders off, and everyone's like, all right, bye.
Let's just say they're different memes, Alexis, but I do see where you're going with it.
Kato Sakaris is like the only character who shows up to fight Necrons, lose but still win, get trapped in an alternate dimension, escape, to only get trapped in that alternate dimension again, and maybe escape? We don't know yet.
That's more convoluted. That's more like almost Skaven level shenanigans, as opposed to like Nakai just kind of like wanders up like a random protagonist in a story, and then he's like, all right, my story's over, I'm out. See you guys in like 500 years. Firesnake, I was summoned by the announcement of a versus discussion. I eagerly await for the discussion of Lizardmen versus Tyranids. Well, we'll see how y'all's votes end up going. David Whitfield, an original 40k Rogue Trader. There were both Slann and Zote models with bolter-like weapons. Also, Surprise Carnosaur. We will have Surprise Carnosaurs. Worry not.
40k does not have Carnosaurs, but it does have Crudosaurs.
Crudosaurs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the unfiltered version?
So, without getting into a whole tangent, there's this race called the Crute. They eat things and then become
the
like
Crute.
They add things to their DNA from what they eat, and there is a flightless bird version dinosaur that they run around with. So.
That GW refuses to give me.
Yeah, I think that was a playable unit in Dawn of War 1, because it was like the big chicken monster. Yeah, I love that thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that thing. Ricky Chapman, Mazda Mundi comes in with a steel chair. Yeah, don't worry, we'll be getting to him. Donoman, important note, there's also War in Heaven and Fantasy, but it's different from the 40k one. Or is it? Yes, it is. But also, yeah, I did a lot of research on elf gods in fantasy, which has required me to read a lot more than I would like to about the Eldari gods.
I just want GW to stop writing War in Heaven and be a different thing. There's 2 now, and that's too many.
Yeah, in fantasy,
Wait, there's a third. The Psychic Awakening also.
Yeah, there's at least 2 Wars of Heaven in fantasy now, which is not great, because there's the Chaos God one and the Elf God one, which are not the same, but they're both wars of gods in the ether, so they're similar. Which just like, come on, guys.
Watch GW named one Haven and the other Heaven, and people have just been pronouncing them both the same the whole time.
Honestly, it wouldn't shock me at this point. Jack Ruby, is Balfamel Bellicor in your headcanon, maybe Korn? I don't know who Balfamel is.
I'm lost on this one.
I got nothing.
Jack Ruby, I will be on the lookout for a comment. I don't know who that is off the top of my head, but do feel free to add a little more context there. Antonio, but Krokgar and Oxiota are not unofficially dead. And sorry, I wanted to give you money. You never need to apologize for giving us money. We'll always take money. That we love that around here.
Dang it. Dang.
Yeah, terrible.
Shoot.
All right. So we've ended our first poll, and chat made the very sensible thing of going with modern Lizardmen. So we are dealing with Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition or of Lizardmen, of that you've got all of your your favorite special characters. Lord Croak is dead, but still active as a relic priest. I think
he's
the
as
next
dead as he wills to be dead.
Yeah, for the sake of keeping our topic on focus of going to the 40k verse, I think it's fair to say let's drop them into modern 40k. So let's do post. What is it? The Cicatrix Maledictum? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
I call it the Indomitus Crusade era, or the era
That
Indomitus.
makes sense. That's a lot easier to say.
Post Gork's Grin.
Yeah, there you go. So we've got the big Chaos Rift has ripped open, splitting the galaxy in half, which is a very convenient way for our Lizardmen to functionally make their way into the setting, where the Lizardmen have decided to follow the Great Plan. And according to the Great Plan, the Warhammer world is doomed to destruction, and there's a slight, let's say for the sake of argument, there's just a slight reinterpretation where when Lord Mazdamundi came out at the end of 8th edition, around like 25-20-ish, and instead of reading it being like, oh, we need to go around and bully all the younger races into doing what they tell them to, he instead reason goes, the old ones told us we need to leave. We're leaving early. We're getting out of here before all this end-time crap hits the fan. So they load up at all their big temple ships, because for those unaware, all of the great Lizardmen structures, all of their great temple cities are titanic spaceships. We are talking about absolutely colossal structures.
Temple ships.
Yes, the temple ships. Yes, which AOS actually has some very cool art of, and they are insane looking. And some of them are so big that they functionally have... They use technology that's kind of this form of Old One tech where it's like... It's TARDIS. They have the TARDIS effect where they're absolutely massive, but you go in and they have like a continent inside of them, despite the fact that they shouldn't be big enough to have a jungle continent inside of them, but they do. So we have this great fleet of Old One tech era ships that all rise up out of the ground, leave the Warhammer world, and go sailing off into... Someone mentioned Morslib blowing up. Sure, why not? Morslib blows up, and it creates a chaos rift that the Lizardmen sail on in through, and they pop out somewhere different. Very different. And this is where... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Another thing we need to establish, the Winds of Magic and Warhammer 40k's magic...
Yep, so that's what we're going to do now.
Basically the same thing.
They're really not. They're really not.
Well, like, if you go by the Thousand Suns books, they do use Winds of Magic.
Okay, so Andy is going to just go... He's like somewhere in the world, wherever Andy is right now, his head is spinning because he loves to describe how the Winds of Magic and fantasy are a very, 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 very different thing than the power of the war and the psychic energies, things like that.
Yeah, so what I'll say to this, because this is something we have to decide is how this is going to resolve.
The Slann can actually still use warp-based powers?
Well, go ahead, Sotek.
So let's do this. Let's do a brief little side. This is a good moment to talk about psychic powers versus magic. That they used to be very much the exact same thing. And if you talk to like Rick Priestley, like a lot of his notes are like, oh yes, they're 100% undoubtedly the same thing. And then like as the editions went further and further apart, they got more and more separate. Where when you're dealing with the Winds of Magic, you have that the old ones designed these gates that imploded. And what it is that when the ether comes into the Warhammer Fantasy world, it isn't just like the raw ether. It isn't, you're not dealing with like that realm that you're then grabbing and using as a form of energy. Instead, it's that when the ether or the warp makes contact with reality, it becomes subject to the rules of reality. And reality in the Warhammer Fantasy world basically compresses it and reshapes it into what we understand as the Winds of Magic, which is that it takes on an empirical form, meaning like an actual physical force.
So my interpretation of it was that the magic split when they come into reality in 40k, and they split into the disciplines, which are very similar to the winds. That was my interpretation of it.
So, well, how do I put this? You're not entirely wrong, but it does come from kind of a flawed foundation, which is the idea that Psychic energy doesn't necessarily have to follow rules. It doesn't have to be like
No. You can have a psyker that could blow up a planet because he farted.
Well, he'd have to be
Like-
a really stupidly powerful psyker, but yes, psychic powers can take a lot of different forms, and for the sake and ease of understanding, sometimes those forms are broken down into like, this is a discipline like biomancy or pyromancy. But the
Geokinesis, my favorite.
Geokinesis. But the point is that those are not schools. Those are not written. Those things aren't written in stone and say this is only things you can do. It's just that those are the techniques and the expressions that are common amongst the beliefs, traditions, cultures that use it. You can see this in the evolution of the Space Marine psychic powers over time, because each chapter sometimes even had their own individual psychic ability that they can manifest that was unique to them. And when you talk about psychers, again, like there's some of them are so crazy strong. I mean, just look at the Emperor, for example, that the things that they can accomplish with it go far beyond any categorization. So that's all I wanted to say here.
Like being surrounded by blanks and being totally fine.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
So this is a great moment where we should come up with up to 4 potential options or theories about how this can be resolved as the Lizardmen arrive in a new reality, functionally. Of that, how are we going to have the Lizardmen wizards interact once they are now in a setting where magic, as we traditionally understand it, doesn't exist? It does exist in some forms, because we do have our sorcerers.
The 1,000 Suns literally can make magic.
Here's the thing. It's all one thing. The 1,000 Suns call it magic. The Imperium calls it witchery. It's the same thing. The 1,000 Suns call it the study of the great ocean, and the Imperium calls it psychic powers. It's all the same thing. It's just, it's through a different lens.
So we have our first option, which I think is super simple, which is that the Lizardmen simply become psychic.
They adapt to it.
Like they adapt to a new system.
I can't imagine someone like Mazdamundi not saying, I just need to do this, and all of a sudden I have access to all this power from the Immaterium or the war. Like I believe the Lizardmen are well, frankly, they're just so old, they're ancient, that they think on a different scale than us. Like they're alien to us, the way that they operate and the way that they comprehend things.
For all the Slann, it could very much be argued that for them, they remember the old ones' abilities before chaos even showed up. So they simply go, I remember this. Which we don't use this where we're from because we have this other stuff, but I remember how to use this stuff. Let me dust off the old bicycle, the psychic bicycle, and get on here.
It could be as simple as switching to a different electric plug. It's like, I'm in Europe now. I need to do this.
That's such a good way to put it.
My idea is that they understand the winds of magic, and then once they hit this new stuff, they're just like, this is similar, but let's sample it. Okay, we figured it out.
I just got to change my electrical output. Okay, so we have our first option, which is that the Lizardmen adjust. And we would have our story there of that the Slann are, being the incalculably bizarre creatures that they are able to quite literally just make the calculation adjustments and alter their sorcery in a sense that they adapt to how psychic powers work. And the skinks get to cheat because we have our spawning pools.
We do have characters that share between the universes that can use both powers.
Demons.
Our demons. So we have those, it can be done arguments pre-established, which makes that easy. So that's our first option.
Our second is option, they can't use it.
Our second option, that is very much an option, which we would have to deal with. And this gives the chat some power to put the three of us in a very awkward position of that we get here and the Slann would functionally be utterly useless other than being like incredibly gifted, telepaths. Like they still have abilities and powers, but they would be significantly weaker, which is that. So the Lizardmen can't use magic, don't have psychic stuff. The Slann are functionally, we're going to have to fulfill a very different role, almost being more like maybe something closer to a Tal-Ethereal as opposed to a great psychic, kaboom entity.
I have another option.
Yeah, go ahead.
One that fits into, it depends how you see it, but the power of the soul. Where like the Sisters of Battle can manifest things that are very similar to psychic powers, but it's using their own soul to power it. The literal power of belief that they have, and even when they were cut off from the warp by Necrons, they could still do miracles. And it really annoyed what's his name? The one guy, he was studying them.
Trazen?
No, not Trazen.
I know who you're talking about. Spider
the dude with 4 legs.
The Spider Legs baddie from the animation.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he actually hates it because he's just like, what? How? Because he was fighting Ethereal Stern, Ceres's. He was fighting
Illuminate. Yeah, the Illuminator says Res. Yeah.
Where he was fighting Ethereal Stern, and Ethereal Stern went Super Saiyan after he turned on the Blackstones, and he's just like, come on, that's cheating.
Yeah. Ross, do you have anything to add as far as like Sister of Battle powers?
Okay, we are really going into some deep like cans of worms type territory here.
That's great. I love worms.
To be clear, the power of the sisters and the Lectitio Divinatius, it's all connected to the Emperor and like what the Emperor can do, and the Emperor is kind of like in a weird way connected to the Chaos Gods, what the Chaos Gods can do. Suffice it to say that the power that the sisters wield is distinct and different from warp energy because of its source. And let's just leave it at that.
So what we could theoretically do as a third option, if we wanted to get really crazy, is have it where the Lizardmen's interpretation, the Lizardmen's god, Sotek, ends up becoming a emperor-like entity, and that it allows the Lizardmen to use bizarre powers that they otherwise wouldn't have, because they bring this new entity that suddenly is... It
could be that they found their own golden throne.
What if the great lizard god Sotek is the one who brings them across?
Oh yeah. I mean, the great serpent god. So you have our third option would be that Sotek is a 40k god. So the Lizardmen, the Lizardmen created him in fantasy. We have the whole story of Tehinuin literally going through this great ritual in order to give birth and bring him into reality. So the Lizardmen somehow, some way, pull it off again, which would be a pretty terrifying opening.
It's not out of the question, since the Tau and humans and all of their auxiliaries created a minor chaos god in the form of the Tau god.
Okay, to be clear, that was not the Tau. That was only the auxiliaries.
Yeah.
That.
It did have a slightly Tau face.
Well, yes, because the auxiliaries wanted it to.
Yeah.
Trust me, that wasn't the Tau. That was their auxiliaries.
Oh boy,
we need something to believe in, and here it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our third option, which is that Sotek is real. Sotek has come with them and gives the Lizardmen access to their own unique forms of powers.
Also, Sotek just being a god in 40k is also not out of the question, since the Satan by themselves had the power of gods. So just having a rogue god in 40k, yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, especially, man, we're not going to use the AOS version of Sotek, but the AOS version of Sotek is fucking terrifying.
I think I would say this: if a god brings the Lizardmen across, that's pretty much it for the god. Like, if the god is going to allow them over, that's great. But if the god is then like doing stuff on their behalf, that's
because then you have
I think
then we're comparing god versus god in that point.
Yeah. So we have our third option, which is that Sotek brings them and gives them the ability to use powers.
Wait, isn't that the fourth option?
That's the third option.
Wait, what about the?
So our first option is the Lizardmen are simply psychers. Yep. Second option is that the Lizardmen the wizards can not use wizardry at all, so they have to rely on other things. The third option is Sotek is full. Sotek the god empowers them, and the fourth option, if we wanted to get really heretical, which I'm willing to get really heretical, the fourth option could be that using Old One devices on their various ships and their abilities to their terraform engines and their ability to manipulate reality, the Lizardmen bring magic with them.
Oh, I also saw somebody comment, so we can create gods now. There is a literal, the Eldar create their own gods, and they
Yeah,
are
dude,
a
I don't know
creation
what
of the
do you think
Slann.
Slaanesh is?
Well, no,
So-
not just Slaanesh. The Eldar literally created manifestations of their own gods to fight on their behalf.
The Eldar, yeah, that's a long discussion too. But okay,
Yeah,
so
and which is never truly explained how they did it. They were just like, we have gods now. Wait, so did the old words create them? Maybe.
Yeah, they better explain in fantasy. Don't feel bad.
So I think if those are our options, well, are we gonna let chat choose, or we do?
Yeah, so that will be chat's choice. It is out of our hands. We can we can try and like say, oh, this option would be good for this reason, or this option would be good for this reason. If you want to try and influence it, you absolutely can.
I think Sotek on his own makeshift golden throne would be
just coiled around it.
I like the idea of the Lizardmen gods like making this happen as a way for them to expand the reach of the Great Plan.
It would also give them a way to protect their soul against like the Chaos gods, since like if you look at the Elder gods, where they worship like Kigarath or Ynid, and they put their souls into like the collectives and give them to their gods instead of, you know, getting devoured by Slaanesh. Because all souls that aren't bound to a crystal eventually end up in the realm of souls and is torn apart by demons, unless you can pull that soul into a machine, make it into a machine spirit, go into the Emperor's domain, or become part of a crystal.
Some of those things are true. Not all of those things are true.
Well, I mean, the Mechanicus book does not Mechanicus. What book is it? What book is it? It's one of the Knight books. I can't remember the name of it, but it literally has the Knight reach into the warp, grab the person's soul, and pull it into its collective. And I thought that was really cool.
Yes, but
and it becomes part of the Knight.
But is that a soul? Like, there's the thing is, you got to realize is that there's so many different interpretations, and we're being told this usually through a very specific lens, usually through the lens of the Imperium, who has very strange ideas about certain things. So
I mean, the Celestine book really goes into it, like,
sure,
oh yeah, she died, goes back to the Emperor's domain, which is the light of the Emperor in the realm of souls.
But that's how she describes it.
Yeah, that's strictly
from her upbringing in the Imperium. So to be clear, that's not necessarily how it actually is. It's just how she interpreted it. Anyway.
Yeah.
These are very good things to hear. I am nodding
really
along.
I'm just trying to make it so that they have some soul protection.
Well, I mean, that's kind of where I wanted to jump in here, is that they don't necessarily need soul protection.
Oh yeah, they don't have souls, do they?
I mean, they do. It would
can of worms after can of worms. I'm stacking them up.
I was gonna say it would depend on what the 40K definition of a soul is. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start this poll because chat may be able to just allow us to dodge that particular can of worms, depending on what that is. Cool. Y'all get 3 minutes to vote on that. I'm gonna grab some super chats while we do that. Charles CK, do we think orcs, Eldari, or Lizardmen are the closest to the true technology of the old ones? Is there any compatibility that could be played with?
Honestly, in my opinion, it's probably the orcs.
Yeah, I would say the Eldari for the Wraithbone and the ability to create networks through the galaxy, which was very much what the old ones did.
The old ones introduced them to the webway. The Eldar did not create the webway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is since the Eldar are still using it, it's very close to the old ones' technology. But the orcs in large numbers, where they start getting smarter and smarter and they can start teleporting moons around, then we're starting to get old one technology.
The orcs are capable of creating technology that astonishes and boggles any scientific mind in the Imperium. And part of that is because the old ones designed them with the inbuilt ability to build and create tech.
Yep.
So I mean, I think we both have a pretty interesting idea about this. So that's all.
My favorite thing about the orcs, though, is one, their inherent knowledge. Two, they get smarter the more numbers they get. But my favorite thing about them is that they can break down and understand everyone's technology. They cannot explain it. They will never be able to replicate it perfectly. But man, they can
They get
use
the vibes.
they
They
can
pass the
loop
vibe check.
everything.
Well,
I will say just a quick reminder to everyone that all polls will be on the Loremaster of Sotek YouTube and Twitch channel. I apologize. I'll say that before all polls going forward. For the sake of ease, because we're streaming to a lot of different places at once at the moment, though eventually, very, very soon, it will all be consolidated just on the Lorebeards channel. For right now, it's in a bunch of different places at once. But that is the only place the votes will be for the sake of sanity.
I also saw somebody asking, do Kari that are cloned have souls? I mean, Slaanesh feeds off of their essence regardless. Like, it doesn't matter if you have a soul or not. Slaanesh is going to feed off of you.
Slaanesh and the Eldar, all Eldar, have a very special relationship. And Slaanesh likes to snack on Eldar souls regardless of the source.
Yeah. Even replicated ones.
Let's see. We've got Necromancer's Cobalt. How do we handle magic for 40k Lizardmen? We're figuring that out right now.
Yeah.
That's what the current poll is.
That is something that whenever I see like, oh, the Imperium versus this online, I'm just like, does the Imperium's magic work? Because if the Imperium magic work, Imperium probably win because they have magic bullshit that gives them everything. If Imperial magic does not work, Imperial ships very slow can't win wars.
Oh, like when you have like Star Wars versus 40k and shit like that?
Yeah. And you have like contradicting sources on whether or not ships can actually go speed of light or close to the speed of light, or they can't go that fast. And there's multiple sources that say like Space Marine ships can sail at near speed of light, and the Arch Mechanicus can teleport around the galaxy without using whatever. And it's like, because I love the spaceships of Warhammer. I absolutely love them. And I will always stand by this fact that Tyranids not having a faster than light substitute, aside from that stupid ship that the Gene Stealer cult has to build, which then augments gravity and allows the ships to come faster than light. Tyranids are not a threat to the galaxy, and that really needs to be. They need to have the addition of faster than light travel. Like, just give it to them at this point. Just say they adapted to it. I don't care. Just please, so I can end the conversation of them not being a threat to the galaxy, because it would take them millions of years to get to
They
anywhere.
are absolutely a threat to the galaxy. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, 150%.
But like in reality, like they would never get to like humanity in its entirety because they travel so slow.
The naval arm of the Tyranid swarms is something very few people have any understanding of at all. So
yeah.
What do they travel faster light? Maybe.
But it's like in one book, and it's 6th edition codex, and it annoys me. Just give them, just say that they have faster than light travel. Just give them it. Please. Anyway, that's my mini rant.
We have arrived at a chat has decided to throw a wrench into our spanners immediately, because I guess they're just in a mood today. Because what the people have declared from the rooftops down into the arena as we are being slowly surrounded by lions is that the Lizardmen have somehow, some way brought the winds of magic with them into the 41st millennium.
Okay.
So their arrival has, and I think the easiest way for us to resolve this is to steal some notes from AOS, which is that the Lizardmen have their realms, their engines of the gods. They have these great devices on their ships, which, because me and Eddie have talked about it before, where if you were to take a Warhammer Fantasy faction and remove them from Warhammer Fantasy, theoretically, it could be disastrous for them, because they're so used to having the winds of magic affecting their bodies, like being infused with Gyran, being infused with Akshi and all these things, that if you suddenly took that away from them, they would basically shrivel up and suffer, because they're so used to being empowered by these magical forces. They've grown used to it over thousands and thousands of years. So our Lizardmen have found a way, as they arrive in this new galaxy, to manifest the winds of magic through their own engines, which is going to cause various problems for everyone involved, namely the three of us. But the next most important thing, this is something that is really going to be up to you two to come up with what options you think would be the most interesting, would be where do they show up?
Obscures. You know what? Let's go even crazier. The Halo stars. They just appear there.
So the Halo stars are a great place to appear. Frankly, there is all kinds of weird stuff that's come out of the Halo stars.
What's there that would be so intriguing?
It is like
because I have no idea what
probably could answer this, but every time I get into the discussion of what the Halo stars is, it is just
an abbreviated version. An abbreviated version.
Whatever the DM wants to put there. But we have the person that literally wrote it, so let's just ask.
Well, okay, so I wrote some of it, and I was in charge of like a lot of the projects that touched on it. So I can say this: the Halo stars is really just kind of like the rim of the galaxy. When you talk about the halo of a star system, it's where the cosmic dust and bits of meteorites kind of collect at the very, very edge of what is called an accretion disk around a star. Mm-hmm. So the Halo stars are that, but for the galaxy, it's like the very, very far edge of the Milky Way.
Flat galaxy theory.
Well, it's also the oldest stars. They've traveled the furthest from the galactic core. So this is when you talk like the ancient here be dragons places on the map. That's the Halo stars. It is legitimately the oldest, craziest, weirdest things you will find in the galaxy because they're the furthest away from the core. They're the oldest. Nobody knows what's out there.
So this could be it's kind of our playground, but it also kind of sounds like this would very realistically be a place where if you wanted the Lizardmen to show up into the this is me spitballing. You'll let me know if I'm on base or not with this. This would be the place where if the Lizardmen were to show up, it sounds very likely there would be some bizarre, old one, ancient, undiscovered technologies that the Lizardmen would be able to seize on very quickly.
There's, in fact, in Dark Heresy, there's a thing called a Halo device that is actually an item from that area. So yes,
that's exactly why I wanted the Halo stars.
So that's option one: is that the Lizardmen show up on somewhere around the rim of the galaxy, and they have access to some toys very quickly.
This would also give them a way to establish themselves for at least, let's say, like 100 years without interruption from anybody else. Well, any major race. They might run into like Zotes.
Rogue traders.
The rogue traders would definitely approach them.
Which good old rogue traders would be like, "Oh, buddy, hey, what's up?"
That's a ship. That's a ship made out of gold. I want to say hi.
Let's trade with these guys. They got money. All right, so that's our first option. So what's a second option that would be something?
The Ghoul Stars.
The Ghoul Stars. Ricky Chapman saying the Ghoul Stars could be cool. So for anyone that doesn't know, like me, what the fuck are the Ghoul Stars?
Well, good thing we have the person that wrote it.
Again, I was involved with it, yes. I wouldn't say I'm like the creator of the Ghoul Stars or anything like that. It's also called the Ghost Stars. It is part of the Halo of the galaxy. It's in the Ultima Segmentum, and I mean it's just got a lot of really dark lore and legends about it. It's like the Bermuda Triangle, if you will, of the Milky Way. It's a really nasty place. So we know that the Necrons have a lot of words out there, for example.
Okay.
We know that the Tyranids showed up there.
Them going straight up against the Necrons.
I mean, that's a classic matchup. Old ones v Necrons. So Ghoul Stars would be freaking perfect, honestly. Okay, so if we go with the Ghoul Stars, then we're jumping into basically a
straight on Necron fight.
Yeah, the Necrons are going to be cropping up as almost the immediate major antagonist.
Enough,
Black Templars out there too.
Isn't there what craft world is out there? It's
While they're thinking about that, one thing I'm gonna add.
What are the yellow ones? It's
Eandon?
Eandon, isn't that out there?
I don't know. You see, the craft worlds they move. So
yeah, because they move around and they're wherever the plot needs them to be.
No, it's there's definitely
good old elves.
The Eldar are definitely there in the Ghoul Stars. Cormorog's actually not that far from the Ghoul Stars.
Okay, so So we have the Ghoul
Ooh.
Stars, where they would be dealing with Necron stuff very quickly. And one thing I want to
But
remind
they might
everyone,
have an ally in the Eldar.
True. So one thing I will add for all of y'all in chat is that whenever we do these votes, the last one counts for this. Whatever options y'all don't pick, those don't just like cease to exist. They're more like these things are not relevant to what's going to happen. So because y'all have decided that the Lizardmen are bringing magic with them, for instance, this means the Lizardmen are not going to have any traditional psychers. They're not going, so they're going to be psychic powers are going to interact with them very weirdly, which was something we'll hash out.
It is still a battle of willpower, so they'll have a resistance to the psychic powers, and the psychers won't have a resistance to the magic.
The Astronomicon doesn't shine in certain portions of the Ghoul Stars, which is interesting.
Oh, that's spooky. That's super spooky, actually. So keep that in mind as we're going forward. So as we're discussing these options, if the Lizardmen in y'all's vote, for instance, go to the Ghoul Stars and they start a war with the Necrons, that means they're going to be focusing on the Necrons and fighting them, but they're not going to be dealing with other threats that might be noticing what's going on around the galaxy. For instance, Chaos might start to notice very quickly that there's this strange new force, or the Imperium might start to catch wind
The
of
Imperium would be very caught off guard if they just appeared there.
That's the magic of the war.
The Black
baby.
Templar wouldn't, but the rest of the Imperium would.
Well, I mean, like, what question I have right now is like, what do the Lizardmen want? Do they want to just be left alone? Do they want to come in and like start the Great Clan over? What do they want to do?
I'm assuming they're coming in to like settle an old grudge
against the Necrons.
Yeah.
So that could be something we figure out based on where they're going to show up. If they're going to show up, they're going to have to interpret what's going on around them in a lens they can understand, which I think going to war with the Necrons would be something they would leap at, of recognizing an ancient enemy of a different sort, because the undead are no bueno.
Well, it's a classic matchup in 40k. Old ones and Necrons have been, they've been the Sharks and the Jets for a long time.
So we've got two options kind of out at the fringes of the galaxy. Can we get two options that are kind of like in the middle of the thick, like somewhere they can show up?
Yeah,
Ultramar
popping up in Ultramar.
Yeah, Ultramar would be one. The other one,
and this would be post Plague War.
Yeah, the other one I would say is Galactic South, so outside of the Imperium Nihilists.
Ooh, so on the tail end of the Tyranids, then.
That would be, well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff down in Galactic South, but yeah, the Tyranids would be a big factor for sure. Also, that would allow them to interact with the Tau, is their southeast.
Okay, so we've got the Halo Stars, the Ghoul Stars.
We could also do the Eye of Terror, but I feel like
no,
it doesn't make too much sense.
They would just what Korn would say, go to war, and that would just be
it would cut. I feel like they would just kind of pick a planet and in a demon world, and they'd be like, oh great, we're basically back in Warhammer Fantasy. Great.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just as garbage as the place we left.
Nothing actually changes. They're still Chaos Warriors.
Yeah. So we've got the Halo Stars, the Ghoul Stars, Ultramar, and the
Galactic South.
Galactic South.
Yeah, I could pick a region if you'd like us to go more specific.
That's up to y'all. If you think that is suitable to kind of be like, oh, well, they'll run into this, then we can easily run with that. The Galactic South. All right. This one is very important. So, chat, I'm going to give you all 5 minutes to vote on this one.
That's
while
more
we
than 4.
Indeed.
I'm going to say Rin's World. Rin's World.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, Rin's World. And for those, so if you pick the first option, if you decide to, so the poll is up on the Loremaster of Sotek channels. If you go with the Halo Stars, that means the Lizardmen are going to show up relatively, in the grand scheme, unopposed, and they're going to be going after ancient, lost, old one tech and essentially upgrading themselves.
Then eventually finding Necrons.
Yes, and we'll start to get spicy with things. Our second option is the Ghoul Stars, where they show up in a fairly malign part of the galaxy where there is lots of Necrons and all sorts of other nasty things, and they're going to basically reignite a element of the war in heaven. The Necron one, not the
round
other
3.
one. and that is going to be, and they might get some Eldar allies. They might get some different enemies. They might burn themselves out in a war with the Necrons. We'll have to see.
Lord Croak is like, I didn't hear no bell.
Yeah, Lord Croak's like, death is merely a concept I refuse to acknowledge. Our third option would be Ultramar, which would be the Lizardmen showing up somewhere the Imperium would absolutely notice them immediately, but also probably be caught extremely off guard by their sudden arrival. And we would be dealing with a much more Imperium-focused slant on the Lizardmen's arrival.
I do want to also point out it would be post-Plague War, so a lot of the Imperium's assets would be weakened at that point. Like, very much so. Like, the Night Worlds, the Titan Worlds, the Ultramarines, and even the Sisters of Battle that are there, and the rest of the Ecclesiarchy and the Inquisition that's all there, they're all extremely weakened at this point.
There you go.
Imperium's like, do we need another enemy right now?
Please
really?
No. Yeah, and then your fourth option being the Galactic South with, you said what, Rim World?
Rin's World.
Rin's World.
Yeah, it's home of the Crimson Fist chapter, so it would also be a very Imperial thing, but it would at least be.
It would be South America, at least.
Yeah. Well, Ultramar, you're in the heart of the Imperium. Rin's World, you're more closer to the fringes. So.
Yeah, so closer to fringes, close to the Tau Empire.
Technically, they're not close to the Tau, because the Tau are close to Macragge and the Ultramar.
Interesting. Okay, so Ultramar would be more if someone's like, I want that Tau interaction.
Then Ultramar, Ultramar
okay, so that would be the Ultramar one. So, and so the Galactic South would offer what would be the unique offering of the Galactic South?
I'm starting to regret this choice. It's not sounding as unique as I thought.
Well, like, it's okay. They can just go for the top
three. We could put him somewhere in the Calixtic sector and Imperium Nihilus if you want, or we could throw him into Gilead, or we could throw him into.
Do the Crimson Fist have any ancient tech?
No, but the Death Specters do, which is why I said the Ghoul Stars I thought was the perfect one, frankly.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of like what chapter has like ancient technology. I mean, them getting to the Dark Angels would probably be like the treasure trove of all of their technology.
That's
for holding on to this, guys.
That's absolutely horrifying.
Yeah,
the Dark Angels have stuff that nobody else does. So.
Eric, I will note the spawning pools actually wouldn't be a problem at all. All of the temple cities have fully functioning spawning pool systems on them, and the Lizardmen are able to alter their sequences. So they are able to just keep spawning skinks, Kroxigors, and Saurus, just like they always have.
And unlike the Votan, they could actually do it without error. Yeah,
and they might adjust slightly. They can make slight adjustments to them. Send them to Kamara, you cowards.
That's, ugh.
Oh, could you imagine them actually bringing the winds of magic to Kamara?
No, what could go wrong? No. What could go wrong?
No.
Make sure to get your votes in. I'm going to grab some more super chats while we're waiting real quick. Donoman, best option where the Lizardmen should appear. Near the Tau Empire. Only disadvantage. Kroot get outclassed as Tau's melee fighters. Imagine a Bastillodon, Stegodon, or Dreadsaurian with a hammerhead rail cannon.
Yeah, baby.
I will say, of the potential alliances we'll be discussing today, the Tau somehow convincing the Lizardmen that the Great Plan and the Greater Good would be aligned ideals could be very disastrous for the rest of the galaxy.
So hear me out on this. I actually think the Tau would fail at this because the Tau believe in their own supremacy. Like their greater good is better than everyone else's, and they have to join theirs.
She's right. I think that would be the hurdle to leap there.
Yeah, because
it's far more likely the Eldar would be interested, or the Craft World Eldar, the Asuryani.
Yeah, I mean, even the Drukhari would be like, "Oh, hey, we haven't seen you guys since like 3 days ago. What's up?"
Yeah, but they have nothing in common beyond a shared.
No, I mean, I think Drukhari trying to just take advantage of the chaos of the Lizardmen showing up. Dynaman, I think there is a third War in Heaven in fantasy because I swear I've heard the Ogres versus the Sky Titan also called the War in Heaven. It probably is. That wouldn't surprise me.
Oh my God, GW, want to throw hands?
Yeah, listen, GW has a thing that when they come up with like a cool name for something, they kind of like to like spam it. Which is, we've all been there. We've all been there. But Borrow tic-tac-toe and Zwup about to drop a rock on 40k. Oh yeah, what could be more terrifying than a pterodon with a rock?
Well, in this case, it wouldn't be a rock; it'd be a bomb. It'd be an actual.
Yeah.
bomb.
I mean, the Lizardmen will inevitably probably do some upgrades. I mean, pterodons. I mean, they're still relatively scary. Dinosaurs be dinosaurs. Antonio Renza. But so I'm a bit disappointed that they are Lizardmen and not Nagash, because this is Nagash's power. I'm sure Nagash for one of these streams one day we'll get to talk about him, because there is a deeply troubling, obvious question of what would happen with Nagash interacting with the quote unquote corpse emperor, because that could be very spooky.
My whole thing is the Imperium is a death cult. Here, the Emperor is already Nagash.
There's a lot to unpack there, especially because 40k does not have necromancy. There are no such things as ghosts or zombies or walking skeletons.
There is possessed suits of armor.
There's stories of it.
Yeah.
Is it real? We're not sure.
Yeah, the undead would probably be a relatively shocking sudden arrival. Dinoman, USS Jalapeno Poppers does raise a point. I don't think we were given an option for psychic powers to be able to work when 40k invest in fantasy, so it doesn't seem fair that fantasy characters can use psychic powers. That's fair. I mean, if that's how y'all voted, that is ended up how y'all voted. Y'all wanted your magic, and we will be talking about that very, very soon when we get into our first couple of matchups here. Let me check polls. Okay, that is undead time. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Twitch chat, but I am pretty sure that the overwhelming answer is that the Lizardmen will appear in the Halo stars.
Ooh.
So we get our whoop, and suddenly a Titanic fleet of all these different great temple ships that have arrived from good old Malice, the Warhammer Fantasy Planet, arrive in the Halo stars. And based on the narrative that we have been building thus far, the Halo stars, from my understanding, are a relatively quiet-ish part of the galaxy compared to other places of the options we've selected. And feel free to jump in at any point if I say something wrong here. And our Lizardmen, based on this, have the opportunity to kind of get established. The Lizardmen are able to start going down to various planets or asteroids or places that they can recognize the ancient remnants of the old ones. And the Lizardmen here have a very nasty advantage compared to a lot of various factions, which is that the Lizardmen have some of the best damn over-the-top terraforming creations with what are known as the Realm Shaper engines, which are something they had in fantasy.
It's also something that they theoretically have in 40k if you want to read into their little blurb from 3rd edition, where they can terraform entire planets and put life on it.
So we have the Lizardmen arriving. They are placing down on these, I don't know how many planets are out in the Halo stars. I imagine there's a decent number.
There's plenty.
And there will probably be some early skirmishes. So from the two of you, what we need for like what could happen? What would be the most realistic challenge that they would what are potential factions or things that the Lizardmen might be able to do from the Halo stars that you would think would be interesting to discuss?
So the first thing that comes to my mind is that because the ships are something that they are not scanning for, they would go undetected even while Imperial patrols pass them. And that's a big thing, because then they can get a jump on an Imperial patrol and see how the Imperium's technology is. And I don't know if I don't know how well they can retro engineer technology, but they could find weak points in the Imperial's tech pretty quickly.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of an interesting thing for Lizardmen, is that for the Lizardmen, they are, for anyone that doesn't know Lizardmen, they are spawned with all of the knowledge they need to have the moment they like crawl out of the spawning waters.
So they'd be spawning with guns.
Well, so there would be a potential opportunity that, and this is something that we could either just decide happens so that they just kind of mesh into the setting properly, of that as they're discovering this old one tech, and they are able to start adding it to their own, because that's one of the big reasons we had them showing up in the Halo Stars, is they're getting access to these new toys.
I do have something to add to that. They could find an Eldar Maiden world that is long since abandoned by the Eldar until they come and reclaim it. And from there, get back their Wraithbone technology, which is something that is Eldari, but also the Eldari are created by the old ones, so there is a chance that they understand it.
And some of the Maiden worlds were terraformed by old ones. So
yeah.
Who knows? But it could a Maiden world would be interesting. I think. Well, the most detailed area of the Halo Stars that I'm aware of, that I know of, is the Coronis Expanse. So, Rogue Traders would be something that they would probably encounter at some point, which would be pretty neat and interesting. Like I said, that ship is made of gold. I want to talk to them. They probably would come across, pirates and orcs. There's orcs everywhere, literally, in the galaxy.
Yeah.
They probably come across. Those are the first things that come to mind.
Okay, so I think what we could go with here, that could be, so if we go with what the story we've kind of been building up of, that the Lizardmen are establishing themselves. They are setting down roots. They are discovering old tech, which is allowing them to advance their own tech. They are growing in their understanding. Their spawning pool sequences are.
I saw it. I had to think
about it. And
make it so.
Yeah, I think we have the thing is, as the Lizardmen, their tech is starting to advance. The Lizardmen that are emerging from the spawning pools the spawning sequences are changing to adapt to this new setting, where you have Saurus that are designed to be wielding different kinds of melee weapons. We're going to keep our Saurus fairly on track of, they're not very good at wielding like much in the way of ranged focused weaponry. They're much more things that augment their physical capabilities. But our skinks are going to
have guns.
Yes, and they're going to be
putting a skink with 2 Uzis.
Yeah, so we have our skinks are getting guns. Our skinks are pterodons are adapting and learning how to drop bombs. They're augmenting their various creatures with new devices. They find an Eldar world where maybe we might have that be one of the options of chat can mess with. They are starting to mess with Wraithbone. So actually, I think I see a good potential for a poll here, which would be, what is going to be the main form of new tech that the Lizardmen take on?
There you go. That's a good idea.
So we could have that. They find. So we have Wraithbone, where the Lizardmen discover a main world, and they find enough there intact, enough things from the old ones that they are able to learn to create Wraithbone constructs using functionally their sorcery. It's going to be different. What do you think Wraithbone would be able to be manipulated by magic as well as
if they have the winds of magic and they have necromancy? Wraithbone is bone, people. They can do stuff with it. They can do stuff with it. The Eldar would be like, "What the hell? I'd have no idea."
Yeah, bone shaping is not that hard. With the winds of magic.
With the new update to the Eldar's lore, Wraithbone is a natural construct. So them manipulating something that is in nature is kind of their thing. Okay, manipulating and reproducing Wraithbone is going to be very easy for the Saurus. Okay,
so we have our first option, which is that the Lizardmen take on Wraithbone technology. The second option, which a lot of people seem to be kind of chomping at the bit at, which would be quite fun, is that they establish relations with the Rogue Traders.
So it's important to point out that back in the day, when the two settings were a lot closer together, there was an event called Dark Shadows, where Albion,
Dark Shadows,
and all the rewards for that campaign were items from 40K that were just renamed as an old one's whatever. Like there was a Power Fist and a Las Pistol and an Auspex, but they were all tech from 40K that were shown as these are items
the Gauntlet of Power.
The Gauntlet of Power.
So our second option is that the Rogue Traders establish trade relations with the Lizardmen, because the Lizardmen are not against trade, and there are things the Lizardmen don't care about gold. They understand its use, but to them it's not valuable. it has good longevity, but they're happy to trade away gold and gems and all that stuff as long as they're not like sacred plaques. And this would be, I think, our option of the Lizardmen getting what we understand as classic 40k tech. So if you want
guns and things like that,
your bolt guns, power fizz, lightning claws, like your very standard 40k technology starting to show up in droves. You basically have arms dealers dealing to the Lizardmen.
Yep. And rogue traders really like dealing in arms.
They like dealing in anything.
Yeah. So that's our second option of Lizardmen tech advancing. A third option, if we wanted to get Jack Ruby bringing up what they talked about earlier, Baphomet from Disciple of the Dark Gods.
Yes, thank you, Jack Ruby. I do appreciate that reminder. So I didn't write Disciples, but I was in charge of it, and I was in charge also of the second mention of it, which shows up later in another book. There's 2 for Baphomet, and yes, this is a sly allusion to a Be'lakor-like being. It may in fact be Be'lakor. So
good old Dark Master by one of his many names.
I would say at the time it was written, okay, which is again, there's various eras of lore, but at the time that this lore was written, absolutely it was Be'lakor.
All right, so then our third and fourth options, because usually we try and get up to 4. I think a third option that could be fun is that the Lizardmen reject tech and just go full on magic, just like developing their magic, developing access to the winds of magic and making the winds of magic spread, but overall remaining fairly technologically stagnant could be a good third option. For a fourth option, like, do we want to go like, would there be like, what would y'all consider like maybe like a type of old one tech they could find that would advance them maybe down like a different
finding an explorator fleet of the Adeptus Mechanicus.
I don't know if the Lizardmen would let that's like found
because
stuff.
they would be carrying that stuff back.
Do y'all think this would be a good question is there enough written about like true old one tech in 40k that would be able to point and say the Lizardmen would be capable of doing XYZ because they have found some?
If you go that route, I would just say they have all the stuff they have for Warhammer Fantasy, and it works just like it does in Warhammer Fantasy. Because the old ones, they were capable of things. They're capable of miracles, and you're really just talking about Dark Age technology stuff at this point. It's like, who knows? It could alter reality. It could be, it could be a stick in a rock. It could be whatever. It's If they have true old one technology, I mean, we're in a very, very different type of setting, and anything's possible. To keep it more in line with like this versus that, though, I would say maybe a combination of, say, Eldari tech and Imperial tech would be like my first place I would start from. So they have like stable plasma weapons like the Eldar do. They have the ability to send you into the warp like the Eldar do. They also have, standard laser weapons like the Imperium. They probably have a lot of naval weapons, including stuff like Nova cannons like the Imperium. But like the Eldar, they probably also have access to the webway. They probably also have access to... go ahead.
Rexy asks, what if they were to encounter an Exodite faction on the main world we mentioned earlier, and that influenced the tech that they developed?
Well, then now you're talking craft. You're basically talking Asuryani Eldar craft world technology.
Yeah.
What do the Exodites use Wraithbone, or is that just craft world?
Yes, they use Wraithbone, maybe because their armor is Wraithbone, but
they do, but they use it in a different way because they have what's called a world spirit, which is the Wraithbone is placed itself into the crust of the planet that they are actually on, and they channel all their souls through that. But anyway, yeah, it would be very similar to
they find a Blackstone Fortress. Victor, that is gonna give me a headache. Because
I mean, would that be a viable fourth option?
No, that
not
is
really. No.
Oh my god. Trying to go through
the
everything that is a Blackstone Fortress and the fact that there's like 8 of them in the current galaxy.
Although the old ones may have had a hand in their construction.
Yes.
So let's do what did the Lizardmen do first? Or how do the Lizardmen tech advanced. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, magic, Eldari trade, Imperial trade.
I think that's an easy way to put it. So
Yeah,
they
good.
get
That's a good summary, Alexis. I
yeah,
like that.
Eldari tech, rogue trader, what arms dealer. I love that so much.
Yes.
It's just that movie
Oh
with
my
Nicolas
God.
Cage
Okay.
as a rogue trader.
So, a few people in chat are going to get this, but there is a rule in Warhammer 40k, the tabletop game, that the more naked you are, the stronger you are and more resilient to damage you are. Case in point, Repentia,
It's just savage orcs.
the Corn Berserkers, the frothing ones. What are they called? The super possessed ones. The Muscle Beach of Gene Stealer Cult. There's a bunch of different units that are almost naked that have a 4-up. They have like either an invo save, a 3+ save, but they always have like a feel no pain and hit like a truck.
All right, the polls are starting. Once again, they are on the Loremaster of Sotek YouTube channel because that's the only way where I can control them very easily. You will have 5 minutes for this poll, but they are now active. If you'd like to go vote for those, or we're going to grab some super chats. Yep. That way, because we're falling behind on those. Ben Fisher, on the topic of how Lizards would use magic in 40k without the wins, how does Seraphon use magic in AOS? So AOS is not the same, because in Age of Sigmar, magic is everywhere. All of the realms are made of magic. Everything in AOS is saturated with magic. Age of Sigmar is the most magically resonant setting Games Workshop has ever released, which is why it's also so over-the-top ridiculous, like space opera level bullshit. I love AOS. I love AOS, but the things people are throwing around in AOS is wild compared to most of the other settings that they have. Charles CK, Slann probably have souls as per 40k. Do Saurus or Skinks? There's an argument to be made. Saurus either have dim souls like the Tau or none like the Necrons. So my question would be, do animals in 40k have souls? Would be like the best.
Not really.
No, they don't. So in that case, I would think that Saurus and Kroxagors probably have extremely dim souls. Skinks, I would bet, would technically have souls. And Slann would almost certainly have souls. I would think.
Slann would be
legit.
extremely powerful. Yeah,
like Slann would probably be like a fucking lighthouse going off. But so that would probably be the way I would say it. Because if it's like your sapience is kind, or like sentience is kind of what ties to soulness.
That's kind of It's,
oh yeah, that's tricky.
It does
yeah,
not.
so I don't.
Sapience is not required.
Yeah,
but
I would think that Skinks and Slann definitely would. Saurus and Kroxagors, I don't think so.
At one time, now this is, again, we're talking about a very long period of IP here, but at one time along this path, things created by the old ones had souls. All Eldari had souls because they were created by the old ones. All humans had souls. They were also created by the old ones. Things that were not created by the old ones, like Tau, didn't have souls.
Oh.
So
in that case, the answer would be yes.
that is, we're talking about 20 years ago minimum of lore development. So it's the stuff has gone very differently since then, and I imagine that the definition of what is a soul in 40k has changed from that point. But at one point, it was what the old ones had built were the things that had souls, and everything else did.
They did a very good job of trying not to answer questions now. Because like if I broke down the Imperial vehicles and how thick Space Marine armor actually is, and it turns out like a 308 could punch through a Space Marine and kill him because of how thin their armor is, and because it's comparable to titanium, and because it cracks like ceramite, you could actually pierce it really quickly. But that was not GW's intention when they were writing it. The intention was that it's anti-tank, so since like a while ago, they started losing numbers when they moved into doing things. So I imagine they did that with souls. They were just like, no, it's okay, we put it over. We never answer it again.
I mean, that does happen. That does happen from time to time. Any squat player will be happy to tell you about how the lore has changed over time.
Any Necron player, they only
they
only had like 5 retcons.
Ricardo says, I honestly believe the winds do exist in 40k. It's just a form that no species that we know uses due to their own relationship with the warp. Like the 40k human lack of sixth sense versus Fuman? I don't know what that last.
I think fantasy human.
Oh, fantasy human. Yeah, I mean that could very well be the case.
I read that as fuck human.
I mean, to be fair, yeah. I would say that that's possible, but it would be almost impossible. It would be basically invisible, right? Like it would be so impossibly difficult to perceive.
I think I had the closest thing where it's like similar to like disciplines, but no.
With some authority, I can say, Ricardo, as much as this is a great idea, the winds do not exist in 40k.
Yeah, and I would say there's really easy empirical things you could point to prove it, because the winds of magic have a demonstratable effect on everything. Like people, the plants, how like the world exists and everything. You would see it because magic has rules.
Is getting slightly buffed by this, by the way.
Yeah. Well, Bellicor is potentially going to be actually getting a little spookier.
Sotek, if I have a bright wizard in 40k, bright wizard in fantasy, and I know all the flame spells there is to know about Akshi, right?
Right.
Can I learn a spell that allows me to use celestial magic?
No.
Okay. A pyromancer in 40k can learn to become telepathic.
Yeah,
a biomancer in 40k can learn to lift things telekinetically with his mind.
Yeah, I mean that human could, but he'd have to understand a completely separate wind of magic, which would be
right. And that's the thing. In 40k, they're not separate.
Yeah,
it's about the focus of your mind, and it's through the lens of your own life. Like, what are the beliefs and traditions and cultures that I see the warp through, and that's how it expresses. So
there's a good question about Slann breaking the hive mind, and I just want to say nothing breaks the hive mind. That's kind of its thing.
Technically, nulls do.
Yeah, Ricardo. Yeah. So a wizard can eventually learn to wield a different wind of magic, but it is an incredibly difficult process that requires an incredible amount of training, and you're utilizing a completely different thing. You cannot use the wind of Akshi to cast a celestial spell. That's impossible.
That's what I was getting at. Sorry, I apologize for that was my fault for getting the question wrong. So
no, you're all good. You're all good. All right. So combining the percentages, the chat has decided that the Lizardmen spend this era as they're terraforming these planets and they're establishing an empire within the Halo stars. They begin trading with the rogue traders.
Okay, sweet. So they're getting mostly Imperial tech then.
Mostly, yeah.
So we have Kroxigors that are being outfitted with Terminator armor. We have
no, we're not.
No,
we're not.
No,
that's a flat out no. But we have Kroxigors with power axes. We have Kroxigors with power axes and storm shields. Right? You got skinks with las guns and long las sniper rifles.
I think probably the Saurus would be. I don't think a Kroxigor would be very reliable with a shield. Saurus would though. Kroxigors are a bit. Kroxigors are like. Traditionally, they have to have their weapons almost bound to them because they're only good at like wielding really big pick type weapons.
So thunder hammers for the Kroxigors, yeah, for sure. The Saurus would have the.
Saurus will learn to be quite skilled, not super skilled because they rely more on kind of bestial instincts and strength and utilizing their natural.
The sacred Kroxigors have power fists already, so they give them actual power fists.
It's like built onto them. Yeah, but then I mean they're wielding old one tech. You probably don't even have to change those guys. So
they could get potentially invulnerable saves.
No.
Through
guys, I got the poll right. We combined the percentages from Twitch and YouTube. And on Twitch, it was overwhelmingly in favor between the Rogue Trader. It was 50% for Rogue Traders, 45% for Eldari, 5% for Magic. Over on YouTube, y'all did, I think, 40% for Magic, 25% for Rogue Trader, and like 15% for Eldari. So when we combine them, Rogue Traders win. Even though YouTube, y'all did vote for Magic advances, Twitch comes in there and messes with things.
I'm trying to remember the name of the invulnerable save that the guard get. It's the it's a type of force field that they can get.
Refractor field?
Yeah, refractor field. So we have the potential of them getting.
Yeah. And those are not
field.
super expensive. So refractor
No.
fields would be something they could. Well, the Lizardmen can afford it. Let's be really clear. But
Well, I was
yes,
gonna say, our goal.
We're assuming they are trading in tons of gold.
right.
Yeah,
So
that's
fields.
the stuff Lizardmen have in abundance. I mean, considering that the Lizardmen have access to magic, they can literally make gold as they wish. Like they have the wind of Shaman, allowing them to make it as needed. Though the Lizardmen also have just tons of it.
The Lizardmen have all the wins. They literally they could.
Oh yeah. Slann are just whatever. Cool.
Let's
So
see. They wouldn't use any tanks, unfortunately.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, okay, look at it this way. You just if you put a rebreather on a Stegodon, it's a tank. It's just a living tank.
That is true. But I mean, like, they could get like the Repressor, the Rhino, because those are common tanks.
Rhino is Repressor, probably not so much.
I would have a hard time imagining the Lizardmen utilizing like a full vehicle from the Rogue Traders. Of the Skinks, learning new skills to that extent is difficult.
If a skink can fly a pterodon, a skink can drive a tank.
True, but that's with the blessing of Itzel, though. To ride on a beast is one of the blessings of the old ones. It's something your spawn knowing how to do.
Right. I don't think they would. Is the thing. I think they could, but I don't think they would.
Yeah. They would be outfitting their lizards with bigger artillery pieces, guns.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do I think that they would be getting armor from potentially said tanks and strapping it onto the sides of Stegodons and stuff that are lumbering around? And so the thing that I actually would find really interesting to ask is there tech that exists that they could get from the Rogue Traders that would allow them to more to augment their natural abilities? So like their natural claws, their fangs,
power claws,
their tails, like things that's like able to be implemented easily into their biology.
Into their biology?
Okay, well that's a question for the Mechanicus for sure, because their bionics exists and they are cheap as hell. Anybody can get bionics.
Well, I mean, that being said, we know the Lizardmen have their own bionics. Like Krokar has like a fucking prosthetic arm that's amazing. He's got a god tier old one tech.
The hand of God, I think.
Yeah, the hand of the gods, which is absolutely absurd.
They could possibly get like monofilament on their nails and shit like that. Quicksilver.
That's monofilament's an Eldar tech thing, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop a Rogue Trader from having it.
That's true. Very good point. Very good point. They could probably get some. They probably could get some actually monofilament in that case.
Yeah. So Camelline cloaks would be really nice on the
Camellia line.
Yeah.
All right. So we have our Lizardmen are upgrading their tech. They're very similar in some ways to the MCU Wakanda that we've seen in some of the movies. Yeah. And where they still have their style in many ways, but they are now able to hit hard. So we have tech. We have their understanding of a lot of tech. The Rogue Traders are showing them a lot of things about the galaxy, and the Rogue Traders, I imagine the Rogue Traders are kind of very much out for themselves, not really being the like, oh, we should warn the Imperium about these guys.
It depends on the Rogue Trader. Okay, by and large, Rogue Traders are ostensibly working for the good of the Imperium. Okay, by and large,
good.
Yeah, quote unquote. But in point of fact, like when you zoom in, individual Rogue Traders have their own agendas, and very commonly what a Rogue Trader will see is what's good for the Imperium is what's good for me. Yeah. And it's good for me to have all this stuff and have these connections. And maybe it wouldn't be so good for me if I told the Imperium about these guys. So what's good for the Imperium is me not telling the Imperium about these guys.
Yeah.
So I think the good thing would be that the Lizardmen have been, in true Lizardman fashion, taking their time. They've been like taking decades, centuries, to a century, we'll say, to get established. For the Lizardmen, that's not that big of a deal because skinks are the only type of Lizardmen that can die of old age. The Croc, Score, Source, and Slann just keep on keeping on. So the question I would have for y'all, and I think the fun way y'all could paint a story is, so with y'all's 40K knowledge, what would you think would be the most realistic? What is going to be the 40K universe's natural response to this group that so far has remained somewhat unnoticed and unchallenged, but a challenge is the 41st Dark Millennium where there's only war. So
is
a challenge
GW
needs to
writing
arise.
a setting book for it? Because then nothing happens.
No, it's not a tabletop book where we're too scared to advance the story, or else we might goof something.
Hey, here's
Ross,
an
do you have any
entire book about
thoughts?
killing Shalaxi. She doesn't die at the end.
So the appearance of a new major faction, and I think we have to assume the Lizardmen would be a major.
They have
faction.
to be a major faction on par with like the Tau,
right? Because if they show up and they're considered a minor faction, everybody's just going to ignore them. So we'll assume that they show up and they are considered a major factor, like not unlike the Tau, and it causes ripples throughout the galaxy. So obviously, I think Chaos would see them as a threat.
Yeah.
The Dark Gods would be like, we know what those are.
I mean, there's established enmity between the Lizardmen and the Ruinous Powers from their former home. That would certainly carry over.
Oh my God! Could you imagine the Lizardmen working with Belisarius Cawl to close the gates?
Of course, I could. Absolutely, I could.
God, Belisarius Cawl, like lizards that have no ancient technology.
Okay, so
yes,
where we're
please.
at, so the Lizardmen have established a significant amount of planets. They're terraforming them all into jungle planets that have all sorts of crazy fauna, and magic is being introduced to all these planets.
This might actually attract the Tyranids.
Oh, certainly the Tyranids would be a threat, because Tyranids are a threat to everything.
So between the two of you, narrow down for me 4 options of a way the 40K universe responds to this group that's taking over this collection of solar systems.
So this what we're talking about, Warhammer 40,000, it is a grim, dark future where there is only war. So war has to be the first answer.
Yes, it does.
War is the inevitable, like it's always going to be war. Chaos is going to be their first big enemy. Necron's probably right behind. The Imperium, I think, would most likely just be like, as long as they're not like actually getting close to Terra, we're going to just deal with everything else maybe for a while.
Yeah, they would treat them the same way they treated the Tau. They would have one real major war with them, go, oh, they're a bit stronger than we thought. Just burn down the whole sector and we'll come back in a few hundred years.
So it's important to remember that the Imperium is, like a whole bunch of
individuals.
It's a whole bunch of kobolds in a trench coat. Now, the trench coat itself, the Imperium as a whole would be like, okay, we're not super interested because we have all these other things to do. But the kobolds, the individual kobolds, first of all, the ecclesiarchy, of course, would be like, oh, they worship someone other than the Emperor. They're no good.
We have to go and burn them. Send the sisters.
The Space Marines will be like, hey, if we're sent to kill you, we're going to go kill you. If you try to take any of our stuff, we're going to kill you. You touch any of our stuff, we're going to kill you.
So this is during Dawn of Fire, during End of Plague War era. So Space Marines just got a huge boost in numbers. I think they're more concerned with the Tyranids right now.
Certainly, but I'm just saying, if any lizard tried to approach a Space Marine world,
then it would happen.
So let's do it this way. So we gotta have war. We gotta have war.
Yeah. Right? So you pick the opponent. And we'll talk about it.
So Chaos seems like a pretty strong. Now,
are we talking Chaos Demons, Ruinous Powers,
we're not gonna worry about that.
Or are we talking Chaos Space Marines? Because Chaos Space Marines would probably just fuck off.
Let's say like collective chaos.
Okay, so Abaddon has deemed that this world needs to die. So Chaos is unified and fought it.
Which would make sense. That this rising threat would be a potential very nasty anti-chaos force. So the Ruinous Power is sending a bit of a strong strike to try and wipe them out, and then we could decide how that goes.
Okay, so I think
that's one option.
We're gonna put it up to a poll.
We're gonna put it up to a vote. So that's an option.
Necrons.
So I think it has to be Chaos, Necrons, and Tyranids.
Okay. So Tyranids makes sense because there is a big Tyranid invasion.
But it would just be a hive fleet, not the entirety of the Tyranids.
So from a standpoint of what would be interesting to talk about, though, I think the Imperium needs to be in the list.
The Imperium does need to be
because
there.
that would be a very interesting conversation.
So do we want that to be the 4? It's
Yeah. In fact, it would be the Black Templar in this case.
For this big launch conflict, we've got Chaos, Necrons, Tyranids, and the Imperium.
Yep.
One of them is about to try and threaten the Lizardmen's place in the galaxy. All right, so who?
Hive Fleet Kraken is way too powerful.
Hive Fleet Moloch, maybe?
Yeah, or Tiamat.
Depends on where in the Helo stars we are.
Yeah.
If we're in Coronis, we're pretty far from certain Hive Fleets.
I mean, it's up to y'all. Y'all know the map. I don't know what the hell is out here.
Well, remember, Tyranids also, certain fleets come from below the galactic plane, so the map is just kind of a...
It's just there.
It's just a suggestion more than anything else.
I kind of wish we didn't have the map of Tyranids and we just had attacks where they were instead of seeing that they're all coming from. I like the idea that they're just there already. And it's like, oh shit, we've never discovered these things. And
the
they're
orcs.
Here.
We forgot the orcs.
I can only fit 4, so someone would have to get cut if you want to do orcs now. Which I can cut someone.
Orcs, we could do orcs / nids.
Orcs / nids?
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Yeah, that works. Give a double option there. And then the Imperium.
Funny enough, if it's freebooters, they might just work with them.
Orcs are weird
those
like
are
that.
some big teeth.
I mean, there is something to be said for, the Lizardmen know orcs. And while the 40k orcs are certainly able to be a lot more advanced, personality-wise,
They're pretty much the same.
similar.
I actually think orcs in 40k are more reasonable than the orcs in fantasy.
We will have to have a great discussion about orcs sometimes. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
All right. Polls are up. Just a reminder, the polls are only going to be showing up in the Loremaster of Sotek channels. So if you want to have the ability to vote, make sure you pop over there and toss your vote in. And while you're doing that, we're going to grab some more super chat stuff.
Yep.
So we talked about Ricky Stars, School Stars. Yep, we did discuss that, and it would be a really cool time. There's a lot of good things down there. Donna Man, Eastern Fringe, near Tal. We ended up not going in that direction. They're a little, I don't know where we are in relation to the Tal Empire, but we're somewhere way off in the rim.
We're on the other side of the galaxy at this point.
Yes, very far away.
We have completely forgot about the Tau. Though the 5th tier expansion that has some survivors popping up everywhere.
The 5th tier could be anywhere, literally.
Antonio Renza, the Vitalays. I don't know what Vitalays is. Chaos as AOS. I don't know what Vitalays is. Antonio,
that
what is
sentence
Vitalays?
Is chaos.
It is.
It's all caps too.
Rexo Gaming in fantasy. There's a statue in Tluxlon that shows images of 40k through its eyes. Maybe they went to 40k for that reason. So my answer to this would be: is it showing 40k, or is it simply showing something else that maybe kind of looks like 40k?
Did Caldor Drago show up in fantasy?
Well, what would be cool is if it's all part of the great plan. Like
it could be.
The transport, the transporting of them to 40k was actually part of this. This was their contingency for some events on the Warhammer world, and they were like, you know what? It's time to go.
Yeah, and that would be the simplest change here, is that it's simply part of the great plan.
Somebody's saying you're behind about an hour on Twitch.
Yeah, well, I'm aware. We're trying. We go through them in the order they arrive, so be aware that it might take a minute. Yep. We have Grim Isaac, sorry. Halo Stars, old one coming back for revenge. Ghoul Stars, fuck Necrons. Ultramar, what the fuck? Cadia?
Oh my god, they could rebuild Cadia.
They certainly could.
Listener Chris, hey Trazen, when did you add a first generation Slann to your collection? It's always been there. He's been there the entire time.
Is a Slann in the background of that one episode?
That would not surprise me in the slightest. One of the Trazen animation.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of think it was.
Let's see. We've got Orange Crescent. What would be the most 40k thing to happen? The Lizardmen arrive.
Oh my god!
Elementers.
He's right. He's absolutely right. That would be classic. because the Lamenters always get screwed.
Yeah.
The Lamenters are like,
No,
finally,
no.
we found this old one thing that could resurrect the Emperor, and just Lizardmen just show up.
No, it's gotta be in 40K. Do you remember how the Avatar was the punching bag for the longest time? Now it's what's his name? Oh my god, the Primarch, Angron. Everyone beats Angron now.
I have heard that Angron has been turned into a little bit of the Avatar of Cain syndrome.
Yeah, he gets beaten up by everybody. Everybody beats up Angron.
Everyone's gonna show off how cool they are by whooping on him. Ricky Chapman, the Lizardmen could raid Eldar Exodites for their dinosaurs.
They certainly could.
They could, though. Once again, so the Lizardmen temple ships, they quite literally, one of the things that gets explored in the stories with them is that because they're old one tech, they kind of ignore the laws of space. So when you're inside of a Lizardman ship, depending on how you navigate it, it is far bigger than it has any right to be on the inside. Like it's so much. They're large on the outside, but they are almost not infinite, but they feel like they're infinite. Typical pass the old one bullshit. To the point where they have literal giant chunks of like Lustria and the Southlands, like the original jungles there, so that the dinosaurs are able to just live normal lives and breed and continue producing, and the Lizardmen are able to maintain them with like stable numbers, which is pretty neat. Jack Ruby, we got that. Thank you very much. Sean Schultz, how do the Lizardmen view the Votan? I don't know if the Lizardmen would
probably at eye level.
Sure.
I don't
trading
know.
Partners, to be honest.
Trading partners.
I don't know that. Yeah, probably trade partners.
The big thing would be like they would be the best trading partners to the Votan. The Votan would hand them weapons, and the old ones would just create material for them, and they'd just be like, "Awesome."
I mean, if it works, it works. All right, and that is time. So, according to both chats, the Dark Gods are going to try and snuff out this threat before it gets any stronger.
All right, so I have an immediate thought about one of the reactions, if I may.
Yeah, please.
I believe Nakai the Wanderer would set forth to round up as many allies as possible. And I'm talking about like maybe he will go visit all those reptilian aliens like the Slith and the Loxiotl or whatever, or the Lair. But he might
maybe
also
even the crew.
But then Nakai he could show up just about anywhere because he's Nakai and he knows where he's needed. He might go find the Creed, he might go find the Tau, he could show up on an Eldar craft world, who knows? But I think Nakai would be gathering allies for the Lizardmen. Our enemy is your enemy. We will weaken them together.
So Nakai, I think Nakai would be good if you're dealing with kind of bestial Xenos, because Nakai being a big croc score, he kind of
he's not a diplomat, right? He's not going to just
he
talk.
Speaks in like single syllables,
right? Yeah. So maybe that's more of a role for Loxiotl. I don't know.
What I would say is I think what it would probably be is like chaos or various forces of the what chaos notices is that you have something like Nakai showing like there's a world where chaos is attacking. The Imperium are trying to defend what they don't realize is a very important planet in the old one schemes. And as the demons are flooding on, this big 12-foot tall, or like more like 14-foot tall, like super buff crocodile monster comes running out of the jungle of this death world. And it's just saving people randomly. Like Godzilla shows up and just starts killing demons. And people are like, what the fuck's going on? And he just shows up, kills a bunch of demons, and vanishes. And people go, well, that was fucking terrifying. The Emperor has a fucking crocodile pet, apparently. Or you have Oxiotl. Oxiotl is Chameleon Skink, who's manifesting places. Because the Lizardmen would know the webway well. It's basically the path of the old ones.
Right, so they can use it. That's how Nakai gets around, obviously, uses the webway.
Yeah. Of Oxiotl showing up,
theoretically how Cypher gets around.
Yeah, Oxiotl showing up with his little blowpipe on, like, you have a sorcerer that's about to complete some great ritual, and then he just hears a, and then just right in the eye socket. So things are happening around the galaxy where the scale is starting to be pushed, and chaos response, like an immune system noticing a new attacker.
The one thing that we do have to clarify really quickly, at the current timeline, Slaanesh and Khorne are having an all-out war because Shalaxi kicked Karnak. And this was actually a major... This was
don't mess with his dog.
This was a point in the Gathering Storm series. Was it the Gathering Storm? Where Guilliman was having his crusade back to Terra, and he got captured by Magnus using Shalaxi and using Karnak's forces against him. And then he only escaped thanks to Cypher, but mostly because Shalaxi kicked Karnak out of the way, and all of the Khorne demons stopped fighting the Imperium, turned, and were just like, we're killing you now.
See, what you don't know is that Khorne is really John Wick. And you mess with his dog. You mess with his dog, it's over.
Yeah.
So
it is not a fully unified greater demon threat.
Fair enough.
We don't have Shalaxi, we don't have Karnak, and we don't have the 8 Bloodthirsters that are with Angron.
So what we could do here for funsies is why don't we give 4 like who's leading this assault? Are we on? Oh, unless you've got.
So I think there's only one clear answer for the Lizardmen for their like forward commander. Dwayne Gorok Johnson.
Oh yeah, for the Lizardmen. Yeah, Gorok's going to be very involved in what's about to go down. I think this is going to be a defensive fight.
I think leading the demons is probably going to be. It's not Kabanda. Kabanda's busy. He's currently,
fucking hate Kabanda.
He's busy with the Blood Angels at the moment. So most of Khorne and Slaanesh is busy. And Fate Weaver was fighting Guilliman around this time, and is still battling minds with him, depending on how much you want to read into the one sentence.
So it could be Mortarion.
It could be Mortarion, but he's kind of in trouble from Nurgle.
This is a great punishment. Yeah, this is a great punishment.
Redemption opportunity.
I was gonna say it's Rodigus or Korbak's Utter Blight.
So, if I may, I'm gonna make the case for Mortarion.
Okay.
Mortarion hates magic.
Mortarion does hate magic, and he's a massive hypocrite, so it does make sense.
Granted,
he does need to get his redemption.
Granted.
So I can see him leading the Death Guard, which is now a whittled force. So he has to get more demonic allies. And because Magnus hates Abaddon, he does help him, but he hates him. You wouldn't see the Black Legion show up.
No, but don't forget about the Lost and the Damned. It's
the
not
Lost
just,
and the Damned would be
not,
there.
The Chaos Forces are not just Space Marines. There are whole hordes.
Yeah,
humans and guards and
I think we could do like a quick little 2-minute vote here. So we got Mortarion. A lot of people in the chat are screaming Lorgar.
Lorgar doesn't do anything.
I mean, this could be his opportunity to do something.
No.
Lorgar's too busy running away.
There's a Birdman after him.
That's fair. I also would run away if there was a Birdman chasing him. People are saying Be'lakor. Do we want Be'lakor as a potential option?
No, Be'lakor has a win. He's good. He's done.
Alexis is no.
It would absolutely.
It could be Vashtor.
It could be
Vashtor. Yeah, Vashtor's got his fancy new planet thing, doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay, so we got Vashtor.
It's Vashtor, Mortarion.
Be'lakor, obvious. Be'lakor.
All right, you know what? We'll throw Be'lakor in there. Be'lakor in there.
All right, Be'lakor. Okay, cool.
And who else? It's not going to be Abaddon. Abaddon is not going to.
Is there like a notable Chaos Space Marine that's not a Demon Prince that could be fun?
Blackheart.
Huron Blackheart would do it.
Huron Blackheart. Okay.
Yep.
I like how all 3 of us pronounce that name differently.
Yeah, that's the way it be. All right. This one is going to be a very short poll on the Loremaster of Sotek channels.
I like how we're 2 hours into this and we haven't even gotten to the fight yet. It's all been set up.
I know. It's mostly my fault. I'm used to Andy coming up with like these sweeping narratives, and I'm sitting here just like struggling to keep my brain on.
No, because
we're having some really nice, interesting like discussions. So yeah. I'm not upset about it, and we can always do a part 2.
Exactly. But there's so much setup that needs to happen because 40K only works in its own universe.
Yep, that's very true. So, yeah, so by the way, if y'all are like, this is super fun, and they mostly did setup, I would really love for them to, yeah, really, classic Lorebeards. I would really love for them
Legit.
to like take all that setup and then do something with it, more than just that little chaos invasion they did or whatever. Then do let us know in the comments. Okay, the polls are up. Polls are up. I'm going to grab some super chats while we're doing that.
I see somebody asking who is Horn Blackheart. Oh, that hurts.
We don't have time. We don't have time. Just figure it out. He's a pirate. He's like Chaos Space Marine pirate, is my understanding of him.
That's the shortest version.
Yes.
Rex,
we answered this.
Oh yes, we did. You get if you get a gun. Yeah,
Welcome to America.
Right, yeah, really. Welcome to America. Here's your gun. Rexo Gaming, do you see my earlier super chat? Yes, we did. I assume. Yes, we did. Yes. Once again, apologies that we are far behind on these. Morning Crescent, Wind of Shaman and Jokero Tech?
Yeah, Jokero are an alien race that the old ones uplifted along.
I want GW.
They look like orangutans.
I have two of them. They're little monkeys. I love them.
I've seen the little tabletop minis. They'd be able to understand and replicate digital weapons.
They don't quite understand the
tech. Understand is a
but they know how to take tech and make it miniature, and that's pretty much all GW does with them. Like you can take a las cannon and make it into a ring and just shoot somebody with a las cannon.
You know, find your niche. Find your niche. Gaston, would the Slann consider selling Saurus that are servants but are actually sleeper agents? Most on the skill would be expensive. No, Saurus would be terrible for this. Skinks as mercenaries is something that's happened. Skinks have worked as dogs of war under the guidance of the Slann. That's
Tinchi Winchi, right?
Yeah, Tichi Huichi. You were close.
Oh no, couldn't pronounce that correctly.
But calling them sleeper agents. So what the Slann do is they would in this case be sending out groups of skinks that the Slann are telepathically communicating with over horrifically large distances. And basically just giving them little orders to go around and say, hey, I'll work for you if you give me that weird little doodad that you don't know what it does.
They that little like be filling the roles of Kroot right now.
Yeah, except for they're kind of they're much less combat heavy and much more like kind of hit and run specialist scouts.
Yeah.
But they would be very rare. It would be very, very, very few groups of skinks that would be trusted to do this.
Yeah.
Antonio Runza, response from the Imperium. Caiaphas Kane. We might just have to end with Caiaphas Kane showing up.
Caiaphas Kane.
Hero of the Imperium has to be always said afterwards.
Ricky Time, as someone who plays a rogue trader in the TTRPG, we'd probably sell them weapons for some of those dinosaurs for our personal zoos and arenas. I will say the Lizardmen would be happy to sell dinosaurs because they would be like, good luck not getting killed by them. Have fun.
Surely there's no way this can go poorly, says the rogue trader.
Oh, you want the bloodthirst, like the moment it smells a drop of blood somewhere within like 5 miles, it goes berserk. T-Rex, have it.
Jurassic Park, but 40K.
Yeah, it's Jurassic Park, but in space. What could go wrong?
It is Jurassic Park if all the dinosaurs were on speed.
Yeah. Eric, have them drop in when the Imperium attacks the Iconoclast RT from the CRPG.
Yeah,
I think that overlaps
in the Alcat game.
I think that overlaps and injects them into galactic politics. I will say I am looking forward to the Dark Heresy game because the fact that there's a playable Kroot character that has my attention. That do have my attention.
I'm obviously very interested in it as well. Alcat rules, by the way. Their games are
they do. They're super awesome.
I want them to do the Enemy Within so badly. So badly. They could do it justice. I believe in them. Let's see. Poll is up. Did someone catch the result on Twitch? Because it's going to be very important because the one on YouTube is very close. I was yapping for too long.
I did not see it. I was not looking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Someone in the comments. Someone in the comments caught the percentages of Twitch. That would be great. Otherwise, I'll have to like
Brad is
math
saying
it again.
Bellicor.
Bellicor?
That's what
says tech. Okay, I'm just gonna look for anyone to agree with him, just to be sure it's not him being like, it was totally Bellicor. That one guy, the Lamenters look on at the unfolding light. An avian and angelic figure cuts a majestic figure in the light, and the Marines drop to their knees. Then they are torn apart by Colchins. So, for anyone, a Colchin it's a large flightless bird on the southern plains of Lustria that some skinks ride. So they're like giant ostrich monsters. They're terror birds. They're
the cassowaries.
Yes, but like bigger and with like their beaks are like teeth-like.
I encourage you to go look at what a cassowary looks like.
They are amazing.
They're spooky. It was Bellicor. Okay, Bellicor. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of Bellicors, and ending the YouTube poll, Bellicor also.
Okay, so it's Bellicor.
Yeah, so Bellicor riding high and mighty off of his recent success in his little spat with Vashtor, the totally not going to ascend probably next edition Chaos God.
Yeah, what's crazy is right now he has the full Shadow Legion, so he has Chaos Space Marines, Knights, a Warlord Titan, and he has like
Bellicor does.
Yeah, Bellicor actually has like a full Space Marine Legion with him that can teleport anywhere.
Okay, Space Marine Legions are a specific thing, so he's got a big
collection of Space Marines. We don't know the exact size.
Okay, so we got our demons, which everybody knows demons. Don't need to have a ton
and
of
because it's Bellicor specifically, there are no demon princes and no greater demons because he is the greatest of demons in 40k, and that is very important. You cannot include those other demons in your army.
Really,
Bellicor is super vain in 40k.
Well, that is going to hinder the Lizardmen a little bit, for sure.
Yeah, that's gonna make killing the Lizardmen a lot harder than it would have been if he's not bringing any greater demons to help out. So we got Bellicor, who's a very tried and true antagonist of the Lizardmen. He's gonna be that they're gonna go, look at all that horrible tech, and then see Bellicor and go, it's him, that guy. Again,
now,
wasn't he in Mordheim?
yeah, tic-tac-toe being like, I killed that guy with a rock once.
Now, I will tell you about all of Vashtor's great achievements in 40k. Okay, I'm done.
Hey, being the new kid on the block is hard. Being the new kid on the block is hard.
He's not even the new kid. He's just the kid you bully in the back of the bus.
Ouch.
So some of the cool things that Bellicor has done in 40k. He did take over a couple of planets. He does lead an entire... Chaos Space Marines are said to be Legion, but they're not Legion size. They're typically around the size of a Space Marine chapter. So we can assume that he has about 1,000 Marines with him, give or take. We can assume that he has a Knight household with him because there is a Knight household dedicated to him. A Knight household can be anywhere from 5 to 50 Knights before it gets too large. And that can include anything from a Porphyron, Atropos, all the way to the Mechanicus Knights. He can take all of them. And he does have a Legio Titanicus army with him as well. So he does have things like Warlord Titans are going to be the most common that he has because for some reason GW said they're the most common Titan. I don't know why either. He has Warhounds, Reavers. He doesn't have any of the Psi Titans or anything bigger than that.
Nobody has Psi Titans except for the Emperor.
The Imperium. Strictly the Emperor.
Specifically the Emperor. Nobody has Psi Titans except for the Emperor.
Yeah. So let's see. He has Destroyer, Despoiler class ships. He has a ton of Chaos Space Marine ships that include lance weapons. Specifically, they don't include Nova cannons.
Yeah, that's Imperium only.
Yeah, that is Imperium only. They do have lances, and lances are very long-range weapons that can cut through shields very quickly. They have bombardment cannons. They have Ursus claws. But more specifically, since they're Chaos Space Marine ships, they're going to want to get close and do boarding actions. which actually might work to the detriment to them because they're going to hit the ships and then end up in a whole new world.
Fair. Yeah, that's true. When you do a boarding action, all of a sudden you're in fucking Lustria going, what?
Yeah.
So the big equalizer for the Lizardmen, though, is they have, we've already decided this, they have all 8 winds of magic. And battle magic is a big deal. In Warhammer Fantasy, battle magic, 40K really doesn't have anything like it. I mean, you can hit an entire unit of guys with a spell.
Yeah.
In Warhammer Fantasy. So
the thing that's going to make it better for the Lizardmen is going to be their god engines, their big blast, because they have an indefinite range in space.
Well, they would definitely be a weapon that the Space Marines wouldn't be prepared for. Chaos would be like, what the hell is that?
I will say that I do think Be'lakor is actually a conveniently very good general to have, because if we're going with our little space shenanigans of Be'lakor would be one of the few entities that would understand magic upon seeing it.
Yeah, that's true.
He would have a full understanding of it.
Like he's like, if it was like Mortarion going in here, Mortarion's gonna be like, I don't know what the fuck this shit is. I just hate it. Whereas Be'lakor's like, oh, I can actually dispel. I could do things. I can hold off the Slann.
But he'd be the only one. He'd be the only one.
But he didn't. Not bringing any other demon, like greater demons, with him is gonna be really hard because he's gonna be massively outnumbered. This
is like pinnacle to his character of 40K. He does not like any other greater demon.
Yeah,
and his army for multiple editions has been, you cannot take any greater demons.
I do think there's a really so what we need to do now is come up with 4 scenarios of what could be fun to happen here. With trying to tell our little narratives. I do think we have,
even on the app, when mustering your army, you cannot include any demon princes with wings, epic heroes.
I like how it specifies. They can't have wings either.
He can take greater demons. Sorry, he can take greater demons. They can't be named. So he's not taking the 8. He's not taking Shalaxi or any of the names.
Yeah, so he can't bring any big boys, but he can still have Lords of Change. So he's not, and other greater demons that will also be able to adapt to magic.
Yes.
So we have a fight here. Like this is a genuine battle. It's not like the Slann are just gonna be like final transmutation and turn all the Chaos Space Marines into gold. But
the other thing about the Chaos Space Marines that needs to be stated is they can become incorporeal and disappear into the shadows.
Spooky.
Yeah, that's kind of their thing. They are a shadow legion. Like they just disappear, reappear where they're needed.
Interesting.
So we have our Shadow Legion shenanigans. So so we have our big throwdown here of that the Chaos forces show up and they board one of these great temple ships in an attempt to bring it down. And I think we come up with our 4 little options, and then we can kind of see where chat takes us as far as what happens in this situation. Of you have your 2 obvious ones of that Be'lakor's arrogance gets the better of him. And he is defeated due to, he gets in a big fight with Krokgar. Tic-Tac-Toe drops a bomb on him instead of a rock. Meanwhile, like there's this great battle in the jungles of this temple ship and the Chaos forces are overwhelmed. But I do think the Chaos forces are bringing a lot of really strong strengths to it. Of that, like when you have like your Titans and all of these like.
The scary thing is that once one Chaos Space Marine makes it aboard, the entire force can just show up. Is the scariest part, and that happens.
But they're going to show up in a jungle. They're going to. We're not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with us.
Yeah, they're going to try to level it with the Titans.
Well, the Titans would be the big. The Titans would probably be one of the biggest problems for the Lizardmen on the ground. But in my head, like I'm imagining, like the inside of this temple ship is like Sotek described. It's continent sized.
Yeah,
you're not going to be seeing the walls. You're just going to see jungle. But like somewhere in the center of that is some massive techno gold sorceric ziggurat, and at the top of that ziggurat are going to be the Slann, all casting a ritual together to cast out every demon within a light year of this ship. So that's probably the reason they have to board the ship. That's probably the reason they must board the ship.
Yes, and there are two main weaknesses to the Titans. One is close combat weapons, because they bypass the void shields, and the second is they have no resistance to magic.
Yeah, so we actually
void shields don't stop magic.
Yeah,
True.
we had an interesting discussion about void shields when we did when Andy and I had different guests on Pick or Snow Work about like how could a void shield interact with magic, and the answers would be complicatedly.
Very complicated.
The way I always the quick answer is it a missile that's shooting an actual projectile? The void shields work. Is it strictly magic and nothing else? And then it works based on its speed.
So to avoid getting into a long discussion of how this technology works, I'm gonna say I'm willing to stipulate, if y'all are willing to stipulate, that the void shields would eventually come down, and then we could talk about what happens after that.
Yeah, I think just enough God engines shooting it is going to overcharge the void shields and break
my
them.
big question is, for the sake of keeping like an interesting dynamic here, while the Slann are very powerful and we have like some strong magic going, the demons have enough magic of their own that it's a fairly level playing field. You've got a good amount of greater demons, you've got heralds, you've got all these entities that are able to interact with this force and fire it back, or dispel it, hold them at bay. So the magic isn't just able to wipe things. The next thing would be, we've established that the Lizardmen, most of their tech upgrades, based on the votes that chat have gone with, have been through rogue traders. So they've gotten the vast majority of their tech upgrades from the rogue traders. So the question that I would have for y'all would be, is the technology that the Lizardmen have been acquiring and upgrading their own troops and such with over the last 100 years good enough that they're able to take on the more material aspects of, like, because they've got the big dinosaurs. They've got some old
They
one
got
tech.
the Dreadstarian that can take on like warhounds pretty easily, so long as it doesn't get shot. And that thing can hide in the jungle and get close.
Yeah, they do have a big terrain advantage.
Yeah.
Of like the Lizardmen have a lot of ambush predator big dinosaurs.
Oh, and to quickly snuff this out, because I know this is going to come up, the Ozpex targeting system of all the knights and everything, of all Imperial vehicles, has always been shown to be absolute garbage. Especially if you're chaos, like your shit barely works.
So I would put this out. If you are friends with rogue traders and you have traded with them for anything that they want to give you, one of the most important things they can give you is a teleportarium. And if you have a teleportarium, a lot of things open up, because then you can put your troops on their ships. You can move your guys around from inside your ship to another place.
So you're saying we could have a surprise Carnosaur?
We absolutely could.
Actually, yes.
You could have an entire pod of surprise Carnosaurs. You could have a flock of surprise
Carnosaurs. Their void shields do need to be down for teleportation to work more reliably.
But that works both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this as our 4 options. So our first option is that it's a big battle, but the Lizardmen get like a decisive win. That between the elements of them fighting in the jungles of the temple ship, the Slann, the Slann's magic is able to hold the demons enough at bay, and the Lizardmen, like the Dreadsaurians with their combos of which we'll have fun and describe what goes down based on it. But ultimately,
also, we could have entire teams of chameleon skinks with las cannons.
That is so silly and very true. So we have our Lizardmen definitive win, option 2 or option 1. Option 2 is that Chaos ultimately wins. That Be'lakor bringing these terrible weapons with them, that the Shadow Legion's guerrilla war tactics are able to maneuver around the Lizardmen, that they're able to take advantage of their bizarre powers to like teleport. They get like one Marine who's good at stealth cloaking. He manages to get close enough to the Slann. The rest teleport onto him, and they're able to just massacre the Slann in like a horrible, drawn-out melee scenario.
They could just warp one of the Titans to them and overcharge the Titan and just blow it up right then and there.
Sure. So something goes down where Chaos is able to achieve a victory, and we have a temple ship that gets destroyed and has cataclysmic consequences for the Lizardmen and their rising empire. Our third option would probably be that the Lizardmen get and I'll organize these a little better, of that we have like a Pyrrhic victory for the Lizardmen. Unless y'all have like a particularly fun scenario you think would be to throw at like some third faction gets involved.
Well, I mean, a tie is a very 40K kind of.
It 1000% is.
So we could have a tie for the third option.
Be'lakor achieves his goal that was never stated and leaves.
I think those first two that you talked about, any victory, Chaos victory or a Lizardman victory, is going to be Pyrrhic, in my opinion.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. All right, and then our fourth option, I think, to go along with the kind of what's been building in the background and could make some people very happy if they're very, very fond of playing their joys of Alcat games, is that the Rogue Traders get involved.
Yeah, they just jump ship and attack.
Their trade partners are under threat, and they get involved for good or ill.
And they have Nova cannons.
They do, and they outrange Chaos fleets.
So I think that gives us some fun options right there. So we get Rogue Traders win. So we've got.
I certainly wouldn't mind if the Rogue Traders win. I'm just saying.
So Rogue Trader victory. Empiric victory for Chaos, Empiric victory for Lizards.
Yep.
I can see all three. I do like the Rogue Trader bringing her entire fleet. I always assume Rogue Traders are women because power bosses.
Many are.
Yes, and they're all awesome, and they dress like pirates, and that's cool. But the Imperial fleet's just bringing like 3 Nova cannons would be more than enough to deal with a lot of the Chaos fleet. And 1 Nova cannon shot, depending on what it shot, and I know that's weird, but if it shot the black hole gun, like everyone's dead. But that is an option that's on the table.
Black hole gun.
Yes,
that sounds like something.
It's a song, isn't it? A black hole gun.
But there is a macro black hole shell that could be fired from a Nova cannon. It's extremely rare.
Polls have started on the Loremaster of Sotek channels. Polls have started.
Abelard, crush Be'lakor's balls.
the fucking Avalar memes. Like
Abelard, destroy the enemies of the Imperium.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dang, I should have had that as the fourth option for the true meme. But then again, everyone would have picked it, so maybe it's better I did.
Yeah.
So okay, we need to get caught up on things. Cole Patterson, Lizardmen seeing Katachan saying, it's just like home.
They would.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Lustria is quite literally a death world. It just is. It's a magically enhanced awful jungle of death and awfulness.
It would make the Katachans stronger.
Yeah, the Katachans would be like, new training regimen, let's go. Gaston, Oxiodal versus Fabius Bile is the book I want.
I would read that book.
Oh, that would be a good book. That would be such a good book.
Your uber assassin chameleon skink that's been to the realm of chaos and just casually walked out of it somehow.
How many Fabius Biles would he be killing?
Downman, what about Be'lakor? Yeah, we need to go into that. And yes, Haramis, thank you as well. Super Olog, big Chaos Knight Crusade. Please, God. So we have a couple of big
Chaos
Knights.
The Chaos Knight household is involved.
And they would, I think, genuinely be the most difficult trial. In a lot, because like the Lizardmen, the Dread Saurians would have some really powerful tools, but some Chaos Knights they're big. They're really big.
And they have lots of guns.
Yeah.
They have lots of guns, and they potentially have like the rot around them that is going to kill them because it's diseasing them. They could also have like better close combat or the Slaanesh sensory deprivation things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Chaos Knights would be a serious problem.
Yeah.
Serious problem.
Yeah.
Way more than the Lost and the Damned. The Lost and the Damned are fodder. But
yeah.
Yeah, I've always, based on what little I know about 40K, whenever you have those chats of like fantasy versus 40K and stuff, the Titans have always been the thing where I'm like, that's like the mountain that fantasy will fight. It usually comes down to the
And
void shield discussion. Like
what
ultimately
makes-
is usually the crux point.
What makes the Titans in this scenario even scarier is that Be'lakor can just summon them. Like, it's not like when Imperiums have to drop pod in Titans into pieces and then assemble it really quickly. And
I want to thank someone in the community for making this meme based on today's Lorebeards.
Very good. Very
Thank you for that.
good.
Awesome.
We love when memes are submitted live. I will show
I
them.
love it.
Thank you very much.
It's corns, dog.
But like the big Titans, the Warlord Titans have to be assembled and then they go out to war. And usually when a Warlord is involved, it's already on the planet. So it's just, it gets awoken and then starts moving. But Be'lakor's Warlords can just be summoned in, just appear, which is
That is
terrifying.
genuinely fucking terrifying. Yeah, that is.
Like,
Um,
all of a sudden, your mountain's gone because this thing started charging and then walked through some shadows and just appeared and blasted your mountain away.
Yeah, or a temple in this case. That would definitely be something that would happen to at least part of where this battlefield is. I could see part of it absolutely gets annihilated by a Chaos Knight shenanigan teleport thing. Because the first time he would do that, the Lizardmen would be completely unprepared for it.
True,
Yeah.
but I mean, the Lore of Metal.
Yeah, like I think it would definitely be a fool me once situation.
Yeah.
Surprise Warlord Titan, yes.
Yeah,
It is a
because
surprise Warlord
then
Titan.
you know you have like Lord Mazdamundi being like, okay, unleash the Dread Saurian that is literally a ghost creature and is partially invisible until it's right up on your ass. Like they want to do a teleporting robot, we got a teleporting dinosaur. Fuck it, let's ball. Braum, Be'lakor shows up only for Tic-Tac-Toe to drop it. Tic-Tac-Toe will almost assuredly get the kill shot because it's tradition. If the Lizardmen win, he gets the kill shot. Shadishian, Slann bioengineer, a Tyranid hybrid flying Saurus super soldiers controlled by their psychic collective for instant adaptation and chaos immunity. So you're saying the Lizardmen just control alt delete the 40k universe in that case? I feel like
I don't like it.
Yeah, I feel like that's basically on par with like coming out and saying, "Oh, the Lizardmen just like the Slann just seize control of the hive mind." That's like that level of ridiculous. Silly. Firestick. I thought there already was a Jurassic Park world in 40k. Yeah, I mean the Exonites.
There's multiple worlds with dinosaurs,
which everybody wants as a playable faction, and GW.
That's why I built my own, and GW just give me freaking dudes on dinosaurs.
And that is time. So, in our narrative, Be'lakor's invasion fleet comes lurching out of the warp at a speed and surprise that is genuinely shocking. Especially Be'lakor, the master of the Dark Master, the Lord of Shadows, is very, very good at launching surprise attacks, even against the Lizardmen. Because even despite their precognition abilities and the lore of heavens, Be'lakor is able to get around these kinds of things. He has established an ability to be so sneaky, so conniving, that he's able to launch surprise attacks. And as his fleet comes out and they begin their terrible boarding actions, they find themselves in a great jungle that just almost immediately erupts into warfare with all of the roaring dinosaurs and screaming monkeys and all the weird wildlife of this strange place that no doubt has been augmented by weird pets the rotators have brought and accidentally introduced into these hellish jungle environments. And a great war breaks out where you have legions of the Legion of the Damned able to somewhat teleport around, going on alpha strikes, but being countered.
Not the Legion of the Damned, the Damned Legion.
The Damned Legion.
Two different things.
Apparently.
Thank you, Alexis.
GW, get a thesaurus. I beg you. Get a thesaurus.
No, we need to name everything death something.
Yeah, so the Damned Legion teleporting around, going for critical strikes, only for them to suddenly be in a swamp where Kroxigors lurch out of the waters beneath them and are slamming into them with thunder hammers, and Saurus warriors are getting into raging battles against hordes of demons. Greater demons are unleashing cataclysmic spells that are being countered and fired back by the slot. Yeah, you have Gorok doing what Gorok does, which is just thinking like he's just too hard to die. He just can't. Like you have a Space Marine runs up and like impales him like Horus does in that cinematic, and Gorok just looks down and is like, just bonks him in the head.
It's because he's half naked, and that means
he's mostly naked, so he's invincible. You have your Dread Saurians getting into these climactic kaiju battles of scales slamming into Titans, and the Titans moving surprisingly agile, because whenever I see an animation, it's like, oh, those things can run. That's really weird looking.
Yeah, Knights can run. Knights and Warhounds can run.
Yeah, Knights and Warhounds can.
This great epic battle as it's spreading out, and the jungle environment is beginning to burn. Parts of the temple ship are shutting down and going haywire as chaos is being unleashed in its full might, and things are looking dire. And then out of the depths of space, on one of their routine visits, very, very excited to come visit their very strange, cold, aloof, but nonetheless generous, because they don't seem to understand the value of gold and gems and all these other things, trade ally, comes a fleet of rogue traders.
Woo!
Who see that their prized hog is under attack by a chaos fleet. And they say, absolutely not.
Hands off, that's mine.
There are 2 reasons that they would hate them. 1, they're chaos. 2, that's my money.
And in
both are the same reason.
Yeah, and a true way that all 3 of us, your host today, can understand is a true American passion of they're not here to save the Lizardmen. They're here to save the metaphorical oil. And they come in, eagles screeching, guns blazing.
Freedom.
And the Chaos fleet, notably, because the Lizardmen fleet would be significantly smaller. Like, they have these giant temple ships, but they don't have like tons of little fighters or other little ships.
No.
It's mostly just these large, monstrous things that can fire horrifically sized laser beams, but they're slow. They're not good at maneuvering. Suddenly is being aided by an actual fleet that knows how to engage chaos, knows how to fight against chaos, and chaos is ultimately needing to be forced into a retreat. And while Be'lakor inevitably, probably either gets shot by your heroic character yelling for Adelard to kick his ass, or for Tic-Tac-Toe to heroically swoop by and drop a bomb that comically goes off at just the right moment.
The rogue trader maneuvers Be'lakor into position for Tic-Tac-Toe.
Yeah, he sees Tic-Tac-Toe.
Can you stand on that big X over there, please?
Yeah, and in true Saturday morning cartoon fashion, Be'lakor is banished. And with Be'lakor's defeat, the Slann gained the upper hand, thanks to the rogue trader. Because the rogue traders, honestly, would be one of the perfect ways, because if they're doing the job of going after the sinister backline forces that are where the powerful wizards are hiding, unleashing their great spells, countering the rituals of the Slann, and help take out Be'lakor in a very heroic main character protagonist fashion.
Oh my God.
Take out a couple of greater demons, the Slann would gain the edge. And when the Slann gained the edge, the battle's over.
The crazy thing is, in this scenario, the rogue trader is taking every bit of the credit for destroying not only a Xenos faction of unknown origin in their entirety, so nobody investigates them, so they keep their nest egg, and they destroy Be'lakor.
This woman knows rogue traders.
That is
she knows rogue traders very well.
I honestly think that is a very perfect way to make the rogue trader option unique. Is that not only do the rogue traders save the Lizardmen, who are crippled and indebted in a way, not that the Lizardmen truly understand the concept of indebting, but they're like, oh, these servants of the old ones, these things we identify as not being part of the anathema of the great enemy, have shown up to save us, as is part of the plan. This is all that is right. And the rogue traders go, yep, report in, discovered new Xenos faction, wiped out by us, and job done. Don't come to the sector. Too dangerous. Demons.
Large reactor leak. Very dangerous. Boring conversation anyway.
The only problem that they would have following this is the Dark Angels would probably come to the sector because they're still after Be'lakor. And then they would see the Xenos faction and they just wouldn't care. They'd be like, are they a threat? No. Okay, leave.
With Dark Angels, it would depend on a lot of things.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't go to the worlds to like fight the Xenos. They would probably just look at them and be like, all right, mark them for extermination.
Now we're talking.
And then
but we have more important things to do. We have more important things to do right now, but we'll be
file
back
them in the great bureaucratic machine. We will get around to it at some point.
Especially if somebody as powerful as a rogue trader tells them to like, hey, this sector is ours. The Dark Angels wouldn't actually show up for a fight with a rogue trader right away unless the Unforgiven or the Forgiven were involved.
Yeah, rogue traders can wield a lot of power. I mean, it's not unheard of for a rogue trader to tell a chapter master, hey, move on.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. It's more of a negotiation of equals.
Yeah. They would probably like negotiate for like, honestly, they would probably be tasked by the Dark Angels to destroy them. And they'd be like, yes, sir, we intend to fully do that.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list.
Eventually.
It's at the very bottom of my to-do list.
We put it right at the bottom, so it's first. We go in last order. It's like a chain in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I think that is honestly like one of the best ways to end a potentially and very likely part one of that. The Lizardmen's arrival into the 40K galaxy is bumpy, but they find themselves in a fairly empty, oft forgot about sector of the galaxy, and are able to start putting down roots, establishing themselves. And of all of the forces in the universe that could have found them, it is not the ravenous hordes yet of the Nids, nor have they had the misfortune to awaken yet a tomb world of what would honestly be ancient, horrible enemies.
Funny enough, Trazeen might come to them as an ally.
Which is something that could be explored in the future.
Yeah, like he did in what was it, Battlefield Gothic? Hey, I need you to destroy these guys.
I love Trazeen. The Battlefield Gothic animations are so fun. They are so deeply fun. But instead, the force that finds them is literal greed. But greed doesn't necessarily mean evil. It is a more neutral force. And if there's one thing the Lizardmen have in a surprising amount is material wealth that they don't consider valuable, which is a very unique advantage for them to have compared to most Warhammer fantasy factions. And luckily for them, things like gold and gems and stuff are still considered valuable in the 40K universe, which is very handy for the Lizardmen because they have that in spades.
Yeah. And for anybody saying Trazeen would add the Slann to his collection or whatever,
he already has
Trazeen wouldn't have knowledge of them. And he'd probably just be like, oh, neat, I'll eventually grab that if it catches my interest.
I feel like knowing him, he would just already have one through some inexplicable, bizarre loophole.
Yeah.
Or for him, he just has an old one in his collection.
Ooh, now that would be the real rare find, wouldn't it?
Yeah, or the corpse of an old one.
That's far more likely, actually.
Yeah,
that's what I can see in his collection.
I have to watch that animation again. I think he has one, or I'm crazy. But I don't know if I'm misremembering the end of the Trazeen animation where it shows his like horde and it has like a bunch of stuff there.
But thanks to that, when the Lizardmen do attract the attention of their first great enemy, one that did have very much the understanding and potential to wipe them out, because the magic that y'all gave them, their Sotek has not seemingly manifested within this universe. There has not been the birth of a new serpent god, nor have the Lizardmen manifested psychic powers, as far as anyone can tell. Or psyker powers, I should say. They have psychic powers. Never mind. But instead, brought the winds of magic quite literally with them, which is starting to leak into the 40K verse and will likely have disastrous definitely disastrous effects down the line.
Yeah.
But as of yet hasn't. But the first enemy that strikes against them is someone who can also come to understand magic because it is innate to them, being the demons of chaos. But y'all decided that this is not the end of the Lizardmen. They are not overwhelmed by Be'lakor's united forces. Instead, nearly are, except for they are saved once again, not by the altruistic heroes of humanity, not by the emperor's great angels, but some people that just really fucking like gold and really don't want the sugar daddy that they have discovered in the cold-blooded Lizardmen, who probably have a horrible concept of value and have probably been trading far more valuable things from a rogue trader's perspective compared to the things they're receiving in turn. That cash cow, gotta save that cash cow. And they do. And due to this, I very much agree with Alexis's thing of that they also go on to report that the Lizardmen do not exist. And they are mere fabrications of anyone that happens to have stumbled across them.
Or they did exist and are gone now.
Yeah,
Definitely.
they did
They are
exist and have been
clearly
wiped out.
dead. We killed them all.
Likely
What about-
receiving some kind of bounty or accommodation from anti-Xenos Imperial
why not?
forces
A title,
for a job well done.
a couple new ships.
Allowing the Lizardmen to heal and repair and rebuild from this recent chaos assault, and to make their own advancements to prepare for some of the new technologies that they've seen wielded against them, which sets the stage for a very, very interesting round 2 at some point in the future, hopefully with Andy joining us. Now that the
not
Lizardmen,
Ross, that
Yeah.
jerk.
no, all four.
I'm joking. I'm
so
joking.
hurtful.
Of having this the warp stars belong to the Lizardmen, and they
Halo
are
stars.
being Halo stars. I don't know why I said warp stars. Fucking Kirby got in my brain. The Halo stars are now a series of death worlds, functionally, that are very humid jungle planets that are being heavily warped and twisted, seemingly in positive ways, but will likely get bad. Not the entirety of the Halo stars, but a good chunk of them. To the force of the Lizardmen and a rogue trader force that is protecting them, maybe not aware of the damage this could cause in the future.
Almost certainly unaware, or at least uncaring.
Uncaring, definitely uncaring. I think that's a reasonably fun little tale.
Yeah, I think so. I really appreciate you bringing me on board, Sotek. I know maybe not all of my comments were welcomed, but it was nice.
No, I think all of them were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I love them.
I think all of them were great. So okay, we got some more super chats to grab before we wrap up for today.
Final super chats.
Yes, and if anyone has, if y'all feel free to just kind of keep an eye on the live comments, and if there's anyone that you want me to like pull up on screen because you'd like to have us address particular last minute question stuff, we can absolutely do that. So let's see, we've got RJ. Who is that, RJ? By the dark gods, it's Be'lakor with the steel chair. Yeah, only for a rogue trader to show up out of the fog machine about 30 minutes later into the
With
show.
another steel
Yeah,
chair.
with another steel. Now he just picks up the same one Be'lakor had tossed aside earlier and just jumps up and hits him. Antonio, the entire list of Be'lakor's armies. Lord Croak says, hello.
It's time to deliver some pizza.
Yeah. Who's hungry for pizza pie? Yeah, the fucking. I assume y'all have seen the meme of Croak doing the spell with his hands, but it's the two pizzas.
I love the Sister of Battle one with the Triumph of St. Catherine, where everyone makes the thing of pizza.
Pizza is truly the most powerful force. Diamond, another mental image which could counter Titan's close combat weapons, you say. Surprise, Dreadsaurian's Pacific Rim time.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's exactly what would kill them.
Yeah, Dreadsaurians are genuinely one of the few good counters that the Fantasyverse has because they're equipped with Old One tech. In Total War, they're not for balance reasons, but in the actual tabletop and in the lore, the Lizardmen adorn them with ancient, powerful relics of the Old Ones that can do things like make their flesh and their scales harder than any known stone, or make them ghostly so non-magical projectiles just go right through them, like literally phase through their bodies. But they can hit you, or one that makes it where if a Dreadsaurian starts charging, it turns into a flaming comet that just starts coming at you like a fucking roided up
comet.
Yeah, comet. And
oh my god, it's Nibiru.
Oh, I just saw a comment that I could see what the Rogue Traders wanted. They wanted an award-winning Blood Bowl team. Is what they wanted. They wanted the concept of Blood Bowl.
I mean, to be fair, the Lizardmen, it is said that the Lizardmen were the first race to understand and develop the laws of Blood Bowl within the Blood Bowl setting. So the Lizardmen could teach Blood Bowl to the Rogue Traders.
Yes,
and the Rogue Traders take a popular new sport around the 40K galaxy.
Yeah.
Especially Rogue Traders would love Blood Bowl. Cheating and bribing is part of the game. It's in the rules. You're supposed to bribe and cheat.
Minimum bribe starts at 6 million.
Jack Ruby Ross, does the Severin Dominant still exist in your mind?
Well, it exists as an idea. I mean, are you saying does it exist in the current 40K? Which
I would assume that's their question.
No,
strictly to
not.
you, though.
No,
do you think it should?
They in current 40K era, no. They've been defeated. They were a minor problem in a minor part of the galaxy. It was big to the Calixus sector, right? It was a big issue there, but nah, they're gone.
Yeah, that would be so. When you play Blood Bowl, the current edition, Blood Bowl 3rd edition, which is super fun, highly recommended. The video game Blood Bowl 3, also extremely good now. Started off rough, but now it's awesome. I've actually been playing it in my free time, even though it still makes me fucking furious sometimes because it's Blood Bowl. The star players all have special rules now, so they have like special commands you can activate. So if Abelard was a star player, he would absolutely have like Abelard, like fucking kill that man or whatever, or Abelard score a touchdown. Let's see, Firesnake, because we got Ryan earlier. Random idea for a 40K Total War. How about instead of Armageddon? So Firesnake, I will tell you that. If, and it seems very likely according to literally anybody who knows anything, there being a 40K Total War that's coming down the chute at some point. Definitely not this year, but maybe I would hope it's announced this year. A lot of people are hoping it might be announced in December. But if there was one, I would be surprised if they did not at least focus it on like some of the most popular sectors, which Armageddon is like one of the most popular planets.
Yeah, the problem with Armageddon, though.
Back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they. I think they'd probably be way better off picking a different world, picking a world no one's explored before, personally, because Armageddon has a ton of history, and trying to communicate that to a player is difficult.
Yeah, I would just make a new, like they did with Dawn of War, just make a new sector, make a new shit.
I think that's the most likely.
No, more Armageddon.
Also, you can't have Armageddon without Yarick, and he's dead. And I'm mad about that. And we didn't get a book about it. I don't care if he died in his sleep as an old man. I want that written down in a book.
I like, because they didn't do a book. I find it hard to believe that he's actually dead.
No, they have flat out stated he is dead, and it annoys me, and I'm mad about it. But then again, it's also
to
GW, and GW has said characters died before, only to come back to life.
What? Inconsistent GW, Lord. No, perish the thought.
That has never happened.
Perish the thought.
There's never been an Inquisitor Obi-Wan Sherlock Clousseau.
Yeah, never.
Yeah. Oh, wait, there was.
Dino Man, highlighting Chili Lagarto's comment because it's very funny. The Lizardmen have become the... they're dead. They're not a problem. Nope. Nope. We exterminated them. Yeah, they are now the Fishmen of 40K. I hear there's a race of lizard people out in the Halo stars. No, those were wiped out ages ago. You fool.
I thought that's how they did the Skaven too, right? It's like they're urban.
Yeah. They're basically the
Those
Skaven.
are Kroot, you silly bastard.
Yeah, they're just weird Kroot.
Yeah.
An Arbite standing next to him. I'm sorry, are you discussing Xenos? No.
All right, and that is pretty much the end of our time. So I do want to say, before we kind of do our little outro stuff, just thanks so much to everyone for showing up. We really appreciate all. Oh, I missed 2 of your cheers. Down Man, feel free to just like, not with a cheer, but just retype whatever the comments were. Just type them as normal comments. I'll just grab them real fast. But I do want to thank you all so much for joining us. Really nice crowd tonight, which is always lovely to see. And we appreciate all the support here on Lorebeards and stuff. we have some very exciting news that some of y'all have seen hints of, because we've been dropping hints around. So if you know, you know. Please incorporate Nakai. We did. We talked about Nakai. Nakai is the reason Chaos ended up attacking, because Nakai is starting to cause reverberations around the galaxy, because there's this random 12-foot plus tall crocodile man showing up, saving random Imperial worlds, not seemingly talking to or caring about any of the Imperial citizens. Which is actually, if you want to see something really funny, go on YouTube and look up. There's an animation. If you just type in like Lizardmen animation, you'll find it, and it's an animation of these random Empire citizens being saved by, like, it's basically the A-Team, but it's Krokgar, Gorok, Tehennawin, and Nakai.
Okay, now I have to see this.
It's a great animation. It's very well made, and it's super fucking funny. Because Nakai, like, you would get the idea. Just watch, see what Nakai does to those Chaos Warriors. That's basically what he would be doing, is you just see him, like, biting off the heads of Chaos Space Marines and doing other ridiculous shit. Dino Man. As a thought, Lizardmen could be some of the best at dealing with Helldrakes and flying vehicles. Ripperdactyl flock swarming over Helldrakes is an awesome mental image.
It is, except for the, fire breath.
It's
like dealing with a dragon.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not terribly different.
That's true. It's actually like a less maneuverable dragon.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I would actually say in some ways that's kind of the Lizardmen's biggest weakness that a lot of people I don't think necessarily think about that often, is like large flying entities are typically kind of difficult for the Lizardmen to deal with, because they don't have an easy answer. But they also live in like super thick jungles where if you are a big flyer, it makes dealing with the Lizardmen really fucking hard. It's called like Lizardman Guardian animation or something. Donovan, before you were talking about good weapons for Kroxigors and how they wouldn't use shields, but I have a counter. Ogren weaponry using shields. More importantly, could Kroxigors use Ogren guns? So, also you get my chat about idea for Lizardman equivalent 40k. Okay, I think I did, and I think we covered that one. So what I'll say is that here's the difference between like a Kroxigor and an Ogren. The problem with a Kroxigor is that Kroxigors were creatures designed by the old ones for construction, not battle.
Labor.
Yeah, and so when they get into battle, the thing that makes Kroxigors very dangerous, but also not the best with trusting with advanced weapons, is that when a Kroxigor starts fighting, their more animal instincts take over. So that's why in like 6th edition, which they stopped doing this on the minis because I guess they just didn't want to do it with the bits. But in 6th edition lore, the Kroxigors have these big, like, golden, thick gold or bronze wristbands. And the reason is that their weapons would be chained to these bands, because when the Kroxigors get into combat and they start swinging their weapons, their animalistic instincts take over, and they would just drop their weapons. And they start, like, biting people, like, hitting them with the clubs on their tails, or my favorite, death rolling. So, like, they bite someone and they start rolling around on the ground. Which
Those animations in Total War 3.
Yeah, which are great. Like, awesome. That's 100% canon as far as the lore is concerned in Total War. And it's... I don't think Ogrins have, like, the instinct to be like, oh, I'm bloodlusted, I'm only going to fight with animalistic instinct now, where Kroxigors have that reptilian urge to use their reptile bits.
Ogrins they're a bit smarter than that. They're going to use their gun as a bludgeon.
Yeah,
not much smarter. Not much smarter. Just a little.
Kroxigors...
Lizard brain... Ogren brain.
Yeah, like Kroxigors, they're not stupid. They're just very specialized, and using something like a ranged weapon would be completely antithetical to them. Like they're the way they think.
Even if they're using like the slab shield and mace, they're just gonna drop them.
Yeah. Now, if the shield was like attached to their arm, so like they can't drop it, and they're just swinging it around at people, they could absolutely do that. So
I think it'd be more of a hindrance to them because it would block their line of sight.
Yeah, and that's an argument you can make. And Kroxigors also, a lot of people like or don't think about this, but Kroxigors are often traditionally ambush predators as well. Like they literally hide in marshes and swamps with only like the tiniest part of their heads above, and you can barely see them. And then when the enemy gets close, they explode out of the water and hit you and tear you apart. But I don't think they would use shields cleverly. I'll put it that way. But anyway, I think that wraps us up for today. So,
all right, bye everyone.
hold on. So, Russ, you have anywhere where people can find you and your stuff? Anything coming up that people should know about?
Oh, well, if you want to know more about like what I write for role-playing games and other cool tabletop stuff, you can check out my Patreon. It's the Ross Watson /Patreon.
Great, and we will have links for that in the top of the description for anyone that's wanting to see that. That will be there.
And who knows? More stuff to come. Who knows?
I would say that I don't know. We'll have to look at the Emperor's Tarot cards, but I'm sensing something. I'm sensing something.
Whoa.
Alexis, you got anything coming up? Where can people find you online? You got anything coming up in the near future? Stuff like that?
You can find me on TikTok and YouTube under this username. If I'm pointing at it, I hope I am.
Other way. There you go.
There, because it's on this side for me.
I know it's mirrored. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, you can find me on Northern Queen Alexis, and coming up, I'm just doing like painting commissions, Viking stuff, and some other dumb stuff. I got to get hit with a sword eventually.
No, I mean you don't have to, but
my chest right here is still killing me because somebody came over my shield and stabbed me right here. And I almost fell to the floor. I was in so much pain.
I mean, to be fair, the tattoo almost looks like there's an X being like stabbed here.
Yeah.
Like
stabbed directly here.
I hope that you feel better soon because that sounds painful. I would not want someone to hit me in the chest with a sword. I'm going to be honest.
It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it.
But anyway, yeah, so that's us. Thank you all so much for watching. We will be back with more Lorebeards this Saturday, assuming everything is okay. To do me and Andy will be doing a special where we'll be going back over our more controversial takes, and you can follow up with us on anything we've talked about in the past on Lorebeards. So whether you disagreed with us on something or whether you want us to expand more on something, it'll be a great episode for that. And
I saw somebody saying boob armor directs to the sternum. It doesn't. Literally all current body armor for women is boob armor.
Cole Patterson, again, do Arcane Idea, please. It's on the list. I will put it on the list. But that's it for us, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.